Warning: this podcast features adult subject matter, adult language, and things not meant for children to hear. Viewer discretion is advised. You've been warned. We could be, we might be, we most definitely are, and we even have sound this time. We are live, ladies and gentlemen, here on the I'm No Joe YouTube channel. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of appropriate ages, to a very unique combination episode here. Due to Bellator 250 starting way early on a Thursday, we've actually got the main event going on right now. Douglas Lima trying to become the first champ in Bellator, aside from fucking douchebag Bader, taking on a fucking very hard pill to swallow in Gegard Mousasi for the fucking vacant 185 belt in Bellator. And man, this is one of the craziest first rounds. I think Douglas Lima might have made a mistake in exposing part of his game plan during the press this week, because one of the things he said was that he wanted to take Gegard down. He thought he had an advantage on the ground. And round one has proven, in the words of Maury Povich, that was a lie.
Yeah, looks like he needs to stick to where he's really good at, and that's on the feet.
On the feet, yeah, because the first round just ended, and boy, I'll tell you what, I don't know the last time I saw Douglas Lima get fucking handled that easily ever in his career before.
Although there was a questionable headbutt there in the first
there
round.
was a little bit of an unintentional headbutt that
I don't know. That looked like he intentionally did that, but it went straight to the chest, so it wasn't
That's
like
what I was going to say, yeah. I think he was trying to push down, and it might have clipped.
Although Mousasi might have had an idea there of wearing him out in the first round a little bit, and because God knows he's dangerous on the feet. Look what he did to the soup can that we call MVP.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. We also know that Lima has fucking hands made of steel, and if he connects, I don't care who you are, you're in big fucking trouble. And Gegard, being a smart fucking fighter that he is, might be trying to take some of the wind out of his sails early. I don't think it's a bad idea, but man, he definitely controlled the shit out of him for the whole first round. And Lima almost couldn't get anything going.
I think for me, this fight's a win-win, because no matter who wins this, either we get to see Mousasi have the belt again,
right,
or we get that other champ
Lima
status
gets the
over
double
here.
champ. Yeah, agreed.
And
agreed.
I think this is a big thing for Lima, because if he wins, or if he loses, it doesn't matter. He doesn't lose any stock if he loses. If he wins, that just increases his stock.
Yeah, if basically for me, if he wins, he doesn't ever have to hear from MVP again. He can demand, because he already said this week, if MVP wants that rematch, he better step up the competition he's facing, because even though he's got wins since we fought, they're not the same caliber as he and I are. Very polite way of saying, bitch, you're fighting soup cans. So I agree. The only bad part if Lima loses is that gives MVP that right to be like, look, he couldn't handle it with the top competition, so I deserve the rematch with him. But if he wins, he can tell MVP to shut the fuck up forever, basically.
You know what? If he does lose and it forces their hand to put him against MVP, I'm okay with that, because that means MVP gets knocked out again.
Soup canned out again. Yeah, I wouldn't be mad at that either. See, this is what Lima wants. They're on the feet right now, and Gegard's throwing good shots, but Lima's countering so much fucking cleaner and so much fucking stronger with his shots.
He's doing a good job slipping punches, too.
He really is. He's really fluid, man, and he clearly has the advantage on the feet here, and Gegard, being the naturally bigger dude, has the advantage on the ground. We saw that in round one.
It does make you wonder if he said that during press conferences just to fuck with Mousasi's head to make him think about a takedown too.
Right, and that's one of those things, because there's no shit talking between these two. This is a straight respectful match, but it's high level as fuck. So Lima legitimately might have said that to the press, trying to like bait out the wrestling of Mousasi, hoping it would wear him out early so that he could come out later with the strikes when he'd already be worn down. But I don't know, man. Lima's looking pretty crisp on the fucking feet here. Round one, when he got put on his ass, he was definitely in a bad place. On the feet here, he's looking real good against Gegard, though.
Yes. And noticing a lot of things that Gegard's throwing, he's either getting countered, blocked, or slipped.
Or slipped out, yeah. Well, that and Gegard's striking right now is really a lot of one-shot throws. Like he's throwing a jab to see if it lands, or he's throwing a kick to see if you dodge. Whereas Lima's countering everything with a 1-2, or he's just firing straight off and going to 1-2, closing with a kick. He's putting full combos together.
The one thing I would like to see out of Lima right now is to get his ass off the
the fence. Yeah, get off the goddamn cage, man. You're putting yourself in a bad place.
He's just going to put himself into a situation where he can get taken down again. And Mousasi, to be honest, in my opinion, is the better wrestler of the two.
Yeah, well, that and when you got your back against the fence, you have two ways to go, left or right. Either way, you can get set into a shot. At least you're in the center of the octagon. You can step back and three-dimensionally take yourself out of the equation.
And God knows, riding your bike backwards the whole time, that'll wear you out over the course of 5 rounds, whether you're getting hit or not.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can't run backwards.
And I'm not questioning Lima's gas tank at all, because we've seen him go distance.
This 1-2 with the low kick that he's thrown a couple times here in the second round is really starting to land good. And if he can take Gegard's lead leg out, that takes away some of the power from these shots. It takes his grappling away. It puts the ball a lot back more into Lima's court here. I don't like against the fence, though. I don't like that he's so comfortable just standing with his fucking back up there.
Although what I am seeing from the fence work that's gone on so far, Lima's a lot stronger than people think he is.
Yeah,
he was going to be coming up a weight class.
Like, and he said that yesterday in an interview. Like, he says, I walk around between 200 and 210 pounds. So cutting to middleweight is nothing for me. Cutting to welterweight is, a task, but I'm a professional, and that's the job I signed up for. He says, but cutting to middleweight isn't going to be shit. It's just a little bit of, 15, 20 pounds of fucking water weight. That's nothing at this point.
Oh, fuck. With that during the camp, he probably got that off during camp. He probably barely had to cut at all.
Yeah, like it was nothing, I'm sure.
I think he took round 2 there. I might be a little ahead of your stream there, but I think he took.
Yeah, I got 45 seconds left, but I haven't seen anything out of Mousasi to really dominate or answer all the strikes that Lima's got here. If Lima can keep it on the feet.
Depending on how the judges are scoring it, Mousasi was controlling the pace and
the
where
center
the fight was
octagon
happening.
Control,
Albeit he wasn't very what's the word I'm looking for? Fucking aggressive.
Right.
It was one shot at a time here, attempted takedown.
Well, and to be fair, these judges gave Jack Hager with his face hanging off his fucking skull earlier
a
I saw that. Win. My wife had just walked through like 3 times during the fight, and when they announced it, she went, "Wait, what?"
Yeah, that was a weird fight. It was a good fight. That old country boy, he had a lot of heart in him, though.
Man, that motherfucker, he was standing and banging. He was not afraid of shit that Hager was trying to fucking do to him.
What I'm surprised at is there was no warnings for the amount of times that mouthpiece came out.
I mean, look at what happened with fucking Mitrione when he had the same fucking problem. I'm not stopping that fight every time you fucking drop your mouthpiece. You get a fucking warning, and then you get a point deduction. And from there, if you fall your fucking mouthpiece out, you're going to get knocked out because you should have fucking known. This is pro-level shit here.
I think that's why I was so excited to see Murgliata in there reffing that one, because when I saw that, I was like, oh.
Murgliata yelled at him twice, "You better bite down," when he saw the mouthpiece slipping down. He actually yelled at him, "You better bite down. We're not stopping again." That's bullshit, dude.
That last one, when he fucking kicked the fucking mouthpiece back at him, had me fucking rolling.
That's when you know you're being a good sport about it, because at that point, dude had all rights to just clobber that motherfucker and drop him there because he had him hurt. He was real fucking hurt at that point. He had all rights to wait for him to lean down and pick that fucking mouthpiece up and just end that motherfucker. But he didn't. He was a good sport, kicked the shit back to him, waited for him to put it back in.
You know what I'm noticing right now? Is Lima's looking a little tentative too, and I don't know if it's because he's felt the power of the grappling in the first round or...
That's what I'm thinking, because at this point, this is where the fight is going to start to take some momentum for the most part. We're, in midway third round. If Gegard starts to really pour it on, if he just was given a little taster in round 1 and let him burn gas off in round 2, and this is where Mousasi is going to pour it on, there's absolutely every reason to be worried, because you saw how easy he got put down and held there in round 1. So if Gegard decides it's no more feet time, we're going to the ground, Lima has every right to be like, oh, shit.
Granted, he didn't get put down in the second, though, either.
This is true.
I mean, that he does have that, so that just puts Gegard at a 1 of 2. And well, they're starting to trade a little bit more, but not a whole lot. Right now, what's funny is even though they're working, it still looks like it's kind of a feeling out to me.
Yeah, it's like neither one of them is really committed to the timing of the other one. They both have got a feel for each other for sure, but I don't think either one of them has a solid read and they're not ready to like fully commit yet. I will say Lima's staying way more active. Gegard is definitely putting the pressure on him, but Douglas is very much more active against him. He's constantly throwing the little jabs or putting feints out, whereas Gegard's just trying to be very forward heavy and just stay on him, not give him a lot of room to work.
I'm seeing a lot more combinations out of Douglas than I am Gegard.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I was saying earlier. Gegard seems to be throwing a lot of like one-shot stick and see what happens kind of fucking striking here, whereas Lima is a fucking striker. Like nothing he throws is one except that hard-ass body kick like that. Everything comes with a 1-2 or a feint and then the come through with the shot.
I think the one thing I'm most thinking about right now is the way round 1 went. Depending on who the judges are, they might give him a 10-8.
10-8, yeah, I know. I thought about that too because
he was controlled.
It was
the
dominant.
Whole round,
yeah, it was
basically
a dominant round for sure. I could see it being a 10-8, and after knowing what they gave fucking Swagger earlier, there's a possibility that these idiots might fucking do it. That and Lima knows every time Gegard winds up, if he throws his hands up, Gegard's still punching his hands. Yep. Gegard's willing to hit the fucking guard, whereas Lima, if he fucking feints and Gegard blocks, he doesn't throw. He readjusts. He's being real smart with his energy here, whereas Mousasi doesn't seem to be too concerned about anything. He's really throwing lots of winging shots. He's staying real heavy on him here. Like, he doesn't seem worried about his gas tank at all.
Yeah, that might be a thing of I have all the faith in my gas tank, so fuck it, let it rip.
I think that's a lot of what it is, especially after knowing he could grapple the shit out of him in round 1. I don't know, though.
And if your gas tank's that good, you don't think about that shit anyways.
Right. Yeah, you're just worried about what are you going to do next and what can you get him to do based off of your shit.
You got to look, some of those fighters, that's one of their best attributes is their gas tank.
Oh, that fucking counter left that Lima throws so fucking smooth, though, man.
I've seen that overhand right a couple times. That's looked like it's coming close to finding a home. So, I
love that we're 3 rounds in and Lima's still throwing fucking leg kicks. He understands that those are going to pay off. In a fucking fight against a grappler this fucking strong,
yep.
Stick with the fucking leg kicks. Take away his base. Take away his fucking power. Props to Mousasi for just staying on him, man. He's not giving Douglas an inch of fucking room here at all.
Ooh, that's going to be another good fight there on the 5th.
Oh, Manhoff versus Corey Anderson?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited for Corey Anderson's debut.
I am too. And I think, if you want to show that he's a tough motherfucker, throwing him in against Melvin Manhoff is a damn good way to do it.
Yeah. That's a little different.
Ooh, that fucking...
Looking at the corners here, Mousasi, mouth closed, breathing through his nose. Lima's taking some pretty big, deep breaths over there. That's a little worrisome. I think all that forward pressure that Mousasi's putting on him is doing some some damage there.
Yeah, Mousasi has the fucking gas tank to do whatever he wants for the whole fight for the most part, and he's showing it here.
I will say it is nice to see the Mohegan Sun being used, being as they were one of the first to offer up their services to the UFC, and Bellator was quick to jump on top of that, and that's the smartest thing they could have done.
Damn right, because Bellator doesn't have an Apex Center. UFC literally has a multi-million-dollar center devoted specifically for things exactly like this.
Yeah, they've always had a contingency. Once they were able to afford putting a contingency plan in place, they did.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's paid off.
I was going to say, and it's paid off fucking tenfold at least. The UFC hasn't missed a week since June, July, midsummer.
Yeah.
with the exception of the 1 week transition from Vegas to Abu Dhabi the first time.
Yeah, and that was because that was something new.
Week. Yeah, they've hit every fucking week. So, yeah, props to Mohegan Sun for fucking stepping up for sure.
Yeah, and they've done a fantastic job because we haven't had any big interferences.
No. Well, we did lose 2 fights on this evening's card with Bellator. We'll talk about that after the fight's over here real quick. But
one of them I was mighty bummed about.
Yeah, likewise. We had one of them was a Backstreet Boys ticket that got delivered last minute, and then the other one was a guy that we were really looking forward to fucking seeing, and we don't have a disclosed reason as for him yet.
No, which makes me wonder.
Me too. It's very suspicious. It was last minute too, which makes me even more skeptical of what the fuck is really going on.
And what's really funny is, shortly after I saw that, he was already posting on social media again. So I don't think it had anything to do with him.
I don't think it was him, and I don't think it was his team with the Backstreet Boys, because when the other fighter that got pulled got announced that it was Backstreet Boys tickets, both her and it was one of the girls, her and her opponent both announced like within 5 minutes of each other that fight was off, and it was because girl got a fucking ticket.
Well, I will say those leg kicks paid off because it kept him off the ground there.
Right. That, and if you look at the difference here between Gegard Mousasi doing it and fucking Marty Fake Newsman, those fucking kickboxing foot stomps that Gegard was using just a minute ago, he was using the ridge and heel of his foot and putting it down on the top arch of Lima's foot. Not like fucking Usman where he was stomping his toes against fucking Jorge's toes and pretending he was doing something. Like, those foot strikes, I promise you, hurt like a motherfucker. Lima's still looking strong though here, man.
Yeah, he's still got a lot of power in him. He doesn't look fucking gassed. But he needs, in my opinion, just based on what I'm seeing, he's down right now.
Yeah, it looks like he's slowed down, like he's conserving a little energy now. He's not going as balls out as he was in round 3, but it looks like he's being a lot more methodical about what he's doing here. He's being more particular about it.
I think the one thing I'm wondering is why he's not pressing forward. Normally, he's not a backing fighter.
I think what he's doing is he's looking for the timing. He's saving a little energy because he knows that Gegard's still going full bore. And if he can get the timing down by letting Gegard push through here in 4, he's almost rope-a-doping to set himself up for a big shot in 5 because he's still clearly got the power this deep into the fight. I love Gegard, but he doesn't have the strongest chin, especially late into a fight. If Lima can kind of rope-a-dope him through round 4 here and figure that timing out to land that big fucking sweeping shot in 5, because he's got to know at this point, there's no way he doesn't think that he's down right now. He's a smart fighter. And
Gegard's biting on so many of his feints.
Everything, yeah. Everything he throws out there, Gegard's flinching to or reacting for.
Even the feints for the kicks that he's throwing. He's jumping backwards, so obviously that leg is compromised already.
Yeah, he's doing the complete fucking, mambo jump where his fucking legs go backwards.
Take a look at his calf and right next to his knee.
I was going to say where the split in his shorts are, right above the knee there, is bright purple and puffy too. He's been working that whole leg. Lima's definitely put the time in on that knee, and it's starting to pay off.
He needs to stop doing feints and start doing
following through
slips to the body and doing some fucking nasty ass body shots.
Yeah, I agree. Some body work here would definitely
give him credit though. Those fucking shots in still landing hard and heavy.
Yeah, they're snapping.
And you see him react every time, even when he feints, he's reacting hard, flinching. So they're doing damage. Oh my god.
All right, Lima. Time to do some work in this last 5 minutes.
He's got Gegard backing up on him now.
Yeah, he did have him backing up a couple times in this round, which
I'm at the end of round 4 right now, and he's got Gegard backing up from the striking, which shows me that he's not as worried about the takedowns anymore, but Gegard is starting to get worried about getting hit.
Yeah.
And even if you've got a gas tank, when you're getting rocked by every shot that touches you, getting hits not necessarily an option. Especially when the guy hitting you is Douglas fucking Lima, and he's landing hard.
God damn, Mousasi's got to have a hell of a gas tank. Did you look in his corner again there between rounds?
That's
still breathing through his fucking nose.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Lima is huffing and puffing like the big bad wolf. Gegard Mousasi's nothing to fucking sneeze at, man. People sleep on that dude so hard, and I don't get it.
No, and you can't. I mean, I think people sleep on him so much because, oh, well, the UFC cut him, so he can't be that good.
I think that's exactly what it is. It's one of those situations where everybody says, well, he's not in the UFC anymore, so he can't be that good. Bitch, have you seen him fight?
That's like, wait till Corey Anderson comes in here and starts wrecking people in 205.
I was telling a buddy of mine about that this morning. Like, Corey Anderson is here to take over Bellator, man. He's not here to play. He was fucking top ranked and asked for his release from the UFC. This isn't a situation where they let anybody go. He asked to be let go, ranked number fucking 2. He's coming to take over Bellator with authority, and I think it's going to be fucking vicious when he gets there.
Yeah, I think we're going to see some crazy shit when he finally takes over.
Yeah, it's going to be nuts. There you go.
I don't think that division is ready.
I don't think they have any idea what he's actually coming to bring.
Luckily, we only got one more week to wait for his arrival.
That's right. Still weird they're doing it on Thursdays, but whatever.
Nasty kicks going on.
Fucking kicks.
Oh, yeah, he's got him on his back foot now.
He's pushing him backwards, yeah.
Where was this in the first couple fucking rounds, man?
Where the fuck was this in 3 when it would have changed the whole impact of the fight?
Yeah, because right now, I'll say it. Mousasi's ahead.
Absolutely.
Like,
I absolutely got Mousasi ahead on the card.
The only way Lima wins this right now is if he somehow manages to finish the fight.
He's got to knock him out or submit him, yeah. If
And
on the cards, I agree.
He looks like he still has the power to do it because his jab's still looking mighty snappy.
He's real crisp right now for a 5th fucking round. Yeah. For a guy who's just fought 4 rounds against Gegard fucking Mousasi, he looks real crisp right now. I agree.
Although Gegard didn't go to the takedown as much as I thought he was going to in this fight, which is a little strange.
Round. Yeah. With as much success as he got in the first round, he hasn't gone back to it since. He's shot twice since then. Both of them got stopped, and he hasn't been persistent. If you know you've got that much advantage on the ground and you're getting pieced up on the feet, why would you not just throw that fucker back to the ground and win the fucking fight?
And Mousasi's leg looks like shit, and that could be a part of it.
If you look at the way
next time they get a good shot at the side of his leg, take a look at that motherfucker.
Yeah, if you look the way he's walking, he's planting flat on his back foot, but he's staying real ginger on that front leg, almost like Thai stance now because of it.
Yeah, and if you notice when he ducks in for a punch, he has to kind of bounce on that front foot because there's no fucking dead nerve in there right now. It's probably shot to shit.
It's fucking screaming at him, yeah. That, and you notice when he backs up, he lifts that leg up instead of shuffling backwards to stay on both feet. He's lifting that leg completely up and almost hopping on one foot to back up now.
Do that going for a single leg, fucking wreck a shit.
Put him on his fucking back and then rain down, yeah.
The only thing I would say about it is if your leg is that fucked, you're a top level athlete. Switch stance, do that fucking like Conor McGregor-esque kung fu style, to where you're very gingerly, very gingerly on that very gingerly on that on that injured leg, just floating on your tippy toes.
Yep.
Oh, and that just sealed the deal here. Well, I think Mousasi's got the belt back after seeing that right there. In the plus side, Lima has not taken very much damage at all.
No. He really doesn't have a fucking mark on him. Everything that Mousasi's hit him with has been a counter or like a starting shot that he never finished with.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. That for lack of a better term, he's getting Khabib'd.
Yeah.
Because Mousasi's not doing a lot of damage on the ground here. But Lima can't move. Gegard is a giant wet blanket right now.
What's crazy is Lima's doing more damage from the bottom than fucking Gegard is from the top.
Absolutely he is. Absolutely. And he's being way more active. Gegard is literally just holding Lima down and not really doing a whole lot with it. There's a fucking random knee here and there, but he's not even throwing him with force. It's almost just to keep the position. It's starting to piss Lima off, too.
I mean, got to give the guy credit. You went up a weight class from where you normally fought. And
has gone 5 rounds with the champ.
Yep.
I mean, that says more than it doesn't, I think. It's a hell of an ending. That's a hell of an ending, man. He's giving him the fucking business for the fucking end.
Those leg kicks, man. His leg is going to be trashed tomorrow.
Gegard's going to feel that tomorrow for fucking sure. Oh, fucking hell of a fight. Very surprising how it unfolded, but still, hell of a fucking fight.
Oh, definitely. Fucking excellent fight indeed.
Props to both gentlemen.
Pretty sure that they give the decision to Mousasi without a doubt.
That's Mousasi's unanimous, yeah. Pretty fucking sure that's going to be.
In fact, if they gave it to Lima, I would probably be a little pissed right now.
Yeah, most definitely.
I agree. He put up a hell of a fucking effort, but Mousasi did exactly what he had to fucking negate all of Lima's tricks.
Oh yeah, and he did a fantastic job at it. I'm so surprised that we didn't see more attempted takedowns out of him.
I'm surprised on both sides. I expected to see more takedowns from Mousasi after he had such great success in one. And I'm surprised we didn't see more counters from Lima because Lima was throwing 1-2s, and then low kicks, throwing great combos when he's throwing first. But every time he countered, it was just a counter left and then a stand back. Or that quick counter right jab to create distance, and then he was waiting again. If he would have thrown half as many combos in the counter as he was throwing as initial shots, I think it could have changed the whole damn fight.
I mean, if you can get a fucking counter in, even if you can only know you have the opening for one, do a fucking 3-piece combo.
Or a double jab, because he threw a lot of counter jabs.
Yeah.
If you can get one in, throw the other one from right there. 2 will get way more attention, and it'll throw his timing off.
Yeah, just fucking
look at
pop
the significant
back
strikes, man. Significant strikes are almost identical. Mousasi is like less than fucking, what is it? 12, no, not even. 8 more fucking significant punches landed. 3 more significant kicks landed. Like, he didn't outstrike him that fucking much. And I think the significant strike ratio, the percentage of accuracy, is way more in favor of Lima. But that's Mousasi's belt, man.
That was an excellent fight, though.
Damn good fight, but you got to take the fucking belt, and Lima did not take that belt from Mousasi.
You can tell right there that fucking just by the way that went, Mousasi stuck to his game plan.
Yeah, absolutely. He was like, I don't give a fuck what you do. I'm going to do what I'm here to do. Let's see. Look at Dan helping Lima put his shirt on. What a good guy.
Oh, yeah. Hell of a good end to that card. That was for what it was with the couple of dropouts they had, it was a pretty solid card.
I absolutely agree. Some of the early prelim fights were pretty meh, but they're early prelim fights. That's exactly why you put them on the early fucking prelim cards.
That's why they're on YouTube.
Yep, exactly. All right, I can turn that off or I'll get distracted now.
I'm so...
There we go. Okay. So that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all appropriate ages, was the end of Douglas Lima versus Gegard Mousasi for the main event of Bellator 250. Gegard Mousasi keeps the belt. Douglas Lima remains the welterweight champion. He doesn't get champ status. Not tonight, anyways. Definitely a tough fought fucking battle. I think adjustments could have been made on both sides and it would have been a very different match. But, you know, props to the fucking champ and hats off to the fucking challenger for going up a weight class and going 5 rounds with a fucking badass like that. Credit where credit is due for sure. So getting back to non-live things, we do have a little bit of news, a couple of fight announcements here, and thanks to life being fucking crazy for last week, still a little bit of a recap from last weekend's UFC 254 I do want to go over here real quick. As far as 254 goes, obviously I put out a video Saturday night, right after it happened. It was either early Sunday morning or late Saturday night, right after it happened, either fucking way. Khabib defeated Justin Gaethje and then retired. Made the promise to his mother that he wasn't going to fight without his father by his side. He had to do this one because he was already obligated. So he did it, and he retired, laid the gloves down in the octagon. Hats off to him. Regardless of how you feel about him, because I don't like that motherfucker still. He did do something that very few fighters in history have been able to do. He literally retired undefeated as the champion. So you can't take that away from him. The switching of him to the number 1 P for P this week in the rankings is absolutely fucking sickening. It's bullshit. It's all fucking for show, but it's still fucking aggravating. 3 title defenses doesn't put you in the conversation for the GOAT, in my opinion, here. When we've got guys like DJ who did it 11 fucking times. We've got guys like Stipe who's defended his 3 times in 2 different sessions, now has the belt back again. So he's got much more of an accreditation, I feel. There's other people that are, like, I get that he's retiring and you want to pay respect to him, but number 1 P for P, fuck all the way off with that shit, okay?
Dana said he was going to do it. So
that's what I said. I get it. You're giving him his props. He's going out. He was your champion, blah, blah, blah. But if that shit's still there next week, I'm going to get fucking angry and I'll start getting more vocal.
Did you see the little news blip that came out today about Dana speaking with him?
We'll get to that in just a minute. That's in the news section. Yeah, no, trust me. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we'll get there. I promise.
Okay.
But honorable mention notes from last weekend's 254 for those of you who didn't catch it. Miranda Maverick, while working on her fucking PhD, got her fucking full training camp in, full to the best of her ability anyway, under the circumstances, and absolutely put on a hell of a show early on in the fucking card. One of the most vicious up elbow intentional strikes the UFC has seen in a long fucking time. And if you haven't seen that highlight, go fucking watch that again. She completely changed the entire direction of the fight and the direction of that poor girl's nose with that fucking elbow.
That fucking cut was nasty.
Oh my God. Miranda fucking Maverick, like, while working on her PhD. So don't tell me that fighters are just dumb fucking brawlers who don't know what they're talking about. I believe that will be the 5th doctorate holder in the UFC who is an active fighter while holding a fucking doctorate. So props to her, because she definitely has a fucking bright future ahead of her.
Either way it goes.
Yeah, no shit. The other one I want to talk about real quick. Early on, again, early card had some fucking nice moments last weekend. Joel Alvarez with a fucking beautiful submission to open the fucking main card. Just absolutely or the prelims off the earlies, rather. Just fucking spectacular. A little disappointing but surprising note. Cowboy Oliveira actually missed weight coming into the fight, and there's something going on with him, because he didn't look normal coming into the fight. He looked sluggish, he looked slow, and then he got caught with a very easy submission he 9 times out of 10 would have laughed his way out of, and got. I do not think that was a typical Cowboy performance based on what we've seen him able to do. I think there's something going on in the Cowboy camp. I don't know if he just didn't get work in or if something happened outside of the octagon or what, but that was not normal Cowboy Oliveira that we have ever seen. There's something a little off there.
Yeah, it was definitely a little strange for what we've seen out of him.
Yeah.
Look, I know he's getting towards that back nine of his career, or is midway through the back nine.
Right.
But
even still, not
that was a
close.
far step off. That's like you fell over in the clubhouse from one too many drinks type fucking.
Yeah, absolutely. That was off even for him being off. That was off. So I have a feeling there's something going on with Cowboy. We'll find out about probably in the next week or so as we start to get a little more news on wrap as everyone gets home from Abu Dhabi and gets their lives back to quote unquote normal.
What's really crazy is him missing weight.
Yeah, that's really bizarre.
That's what threw me off, that there was something going on with him. I don't know that we've seen him miss weight in years. I think 4 years, 5 years since he missed weight.
And the only time I've ever seen that happen is he's had legitimately some sort of fucking issue.
Something happening, exactly. Something going on. So that's immediately I was like, But I hope he gets his shit, whatever it is, worked out, and we get back to see the regular Cowboy that we know coming back, because that's a bad note to have in people's mouths when they think of your name, and he doesn't deserve that.
Yeah.
Next one I want to talk about real quick, fucking Tai Tuivasa, man. The Backstreet Boys have really fucked up a lot of things for a lot of fighters this year. Tai is one of them. He had gone from Australia, was living in California in DC's spare bedroom, training at AKA, working out with all those boys when the Backstreet Boys really started to take effect and the travel restrictions on all sorts of countries started getting changed and modified. Australia started changing theirs. We started changing ours, and he had to go back to fucking Australia basically in the middle of his camp. That fucking sucks. But he stuck with what he had learned, what he had picked up, the things they had talked about, the little implemented changes they had kind of foresaw for him from AKA, and came in and looked fucking great against Stefan Struve. And it's a weird thing because Stefan Struve looked very much Saturday like the Stefan Struve we had seen previously, who didn't look bad, but again, doesn't necessarily look top caliber for that fucking division either. Stefan Struve is one of those guys that isn't really a household name these days because his prime happened before MMA had mainstream coverage. Stefan Struve was a legitimate big fucking name for a hot minute and earned his way there. But basically since the quote unquote rise of popularity in mainstream MMA, it's been on his journey to the clubhouse, on the back nine, if you will.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't look bad Saturday night, but Tai Tuivasa looked fucking crisp. He looked real fucking sharp. He was real conservative with his energy. He was real smart with his striking. He wasn't throwing a lot of swinging wild shots like we're used to seeing Tai Tuivasa do. I think my most disappointing thing of the whole fight, though, was he won the fight. He hops the fucking cage. His boy throws him a shoe. There's no fucking beer in the arena.
Thank you. If you didn't say that, I was going to be fucking furious. That was the most infuriating thing of the entire night of fights.
He had to get past security guards, over the fucking railing, got the shoe. No fucking beer in the arena.
Yeah. Nobody remembered to bring a fucking beer down cage side with him. Bullshit.
Now, I will say this, credit where credit is due, as they say. He did go backstage with a couple of the boys who had been there with him and taught 3 completely new gentlemen how to do a shoey and did one with them. So there was a celebratory shoey done, and he educated new countries on the tradition of the shoey. But all the bullshit he went through after that fight, getting past the fucking security guards, getting over the fucking railing, getting a shoe standing on the fucking side, and nobody thought to bring the fucking beer, the important part of the fucking shoey ingredient list. Bastards.
Yeah, it just wasn't the proper after fight celebration.
It didn't feel right?
No, and as much as some people are in complete disgust of the shoey, I agree with that 100%. That doesn't mean I'm going to do it.
Yeah, no, I agree. You'll never fucking catch me doing one. You can't write a fucking check big enough for me to get down on that funkiness. But if that's your thing, more fucking power to you. And that's one of those things.
If I just want to fight in that fashion, maybe then I might do it because, fuck it. The
Right.
adrenaline's high enough.
Yeah, at that point, you got enough of an endorphin dump. You won't realize
Whatever,
it.
man. Dude, the shoey is the way of life.
So you're saying you're going to come on the Cloudy Bunker Wednesday and do one out of nowhere for no reason with no adrenaline buildup?
Sure. That's a whole bet, sir.
It's on the internet, folks. So
the next Cloudy Bunker I can be on, I'll do a shoey.
all right.
I'm holding you to that.
You got that on video here. Someone
Dude,
timestamp this and clip it, please.
No, the second it opens,
What you saying? What you saying? We use a clip.
Gizzard, this is your
next time, the second the intro is over, I'm gonna take the stage, be like, "Hey, pussies, here's a shoe, here's my beer."
Walk in there real good, just like Ty showed him how, and we'll hold you to it. That being said, opening fight on the main fucking card Saturday night. I don't like to toot my own horn, but hoot fucking hoot. This is exactly like we fucking said it was going to be. Sometimes when you're smelling what you're selling a little too hard and you chug a little of your own Kool-Aid too fucking much, you end up out to fucking sea with no one to help you. And that's exactly what Ian Cutelaba did. He got so high off his own fucking supply, he didn't realize what he was doing, got real fucking sloppy, and Magomed put him to fucking sleep beautifully. And Ian earned that ass whooping. He really fucking did. You can't feel bad for a guy like that. So from there, I have to say it's a little disappointing a couple days later that her post-fight interview has not gotten more traction than it did. I think that should have been, had Khabib not retired, I think her fucking post-fight interview would be the story going around right now, not Khabib's retirement. Lauren Murphy basically beat the shit out of her opponent, came to the post-fight interview with a fucking stat sheet memorized and laid out her fucking case why she should be the number one contender. Made a very valid and vehement point to say she's not saying that she should get a title shot. She's saying she should be the number one contender. That Jennifer Maia is getting, not earning, her title shot that she has now off of one fight in the division against Joanne Calderwood, who was not even ranked top 5 when she beat her. Lauren Murphy lays out the case. She is on a 5-fight win streak against all ranked opponents. 100% fucking valid. The layout that she suggested, which I agree with 100%, is to do what makes sense for the division. Pull Jennifer Maia out of that fucking fight. She shouldn't have never been there to begin with. Agreed. Let Jessica Andrade, who just beat the shit out of Caitlin Chukagian, the number one contender coming off of a title fight. Let Andrade get the title fight that she has arguably earned with her performance. Put Lauren Murphy as the number one ranked contender and let Lauren Murphy fight whoever wins between Jessica Andrade and Valentina Shevchenko. And I think realistically that is 100% reasonable. It makes valid fucking sense. No one in the division ranked above Lauren Murphy has more wins than Lauren Murphy. And she's coming off of a fucking spectacular performance where she just beat the shit out of a very highly touted prospect new girl. In doing so, coming in with facts ready to articulately explain her fucking point, why the division is all kinds of fucked up right now. And she's got 100% fucking fact on point here with no real good argument against it.
Well, the only good argument I can put against that is the UFC did kind of fuck her here.
Absolutely.
They threw a brand new fucking fresh into the water newcomer. Lilia, glad you made the walk, but you walked against the wrong person. I've never been a big fan of Lauren Murphy. I'm going to say that flat out. For me, there's something about her that I just don't like. Look, she did a fantastic job. Yeah, she does deserve to be up there. I don't think Jennifer Maia deserves that spot of fighting. However, they had to apparently give Shevchenko a tune-up fight after getting surgery and rehabbing and all that, which I'm all right, because I don't think it's going to take much tuning up, because you watch that girl's training videos and even what she puts on Instagram. She's still working fucking hard. I'm just saying. Do I think Lauren Murphy, even if she got in there and fought Shevchenko, would win? Fuck no. She would get walked like a fucking dog. They just tore all around.
And I think the same with Andrade as well. But at the same time, she's absolutely right. 5 wins against ranked opponents in the division versus 1 win against Joanne Calderwood, who I believe was ranked 11 at the time of the win. It definitely shouldn't be Jennifer Maia. And I think realistically, Lauren Murphy makes a good point. Andrade showed up in the division and beat the number 1 contender. That should get you a title shot. That's literally the definition of what should get you a title shot. You beat the number 1 person with the champion already having a match booked. That should put you number 1 next in fucking line. It shouldn't be a girl who also only has 1 win in that division, but wasn't the number 1 person that she beat. It was number 11. There's, honestly, something a little fucked up about that situation. But we all know that Dana doesn't really give 2 fucks about rankings unless it's convenient.
Gives a shit about what makes
it's just more branches for the wood chipper. You've got somebody who's as dominant as Shevchenko is up at the top.
Yep.
I mean, the rankings are a mess. That entire division's a mess. She's right. She's right about that. But it's at this point, it's all just, like I said, it's all just branches for the wood chipper. You're just hacking anything off and chucking it at it and hoping that, well, you're not hoping. You want Shevchenko to keep that belt.
So there's no real hope. They're just going.
I think the only hope that they have is that when they throw something like that at it, something might stick a little bit and make it a little bit more exciting.
More interesting. I think
Shevchenko knock somebody's head off with a fucking head kick.
Yeah, a highlight reel fucking finish.
Yeah. I mean, Jennifer Maia certainly has that ability to get that type of finish laid into her.
Absolutely.
I mean, I don't think her post fight speech is going to change anything. I don't think it's going to change Dana's mind one way or the other.
No,
so
I don't either. But, and it sucks because she makes 100% valid fucking points. But
yeah, I mean, one more fight and it's probably her shot.
I agree. I think if she's as dominant in her next fight as she was in this one, they really can't deny her any longer.
Yeah. No.
Like the only.
But I mean, at that point, she'll just be another branch for the wood chipper too.
That's what I was gonna say. At this point, the only other thing I could see them doing that would even somewhat keep the fucking calms of the crowd, it'd be to literally make Lauren Murphy against Jessica Andrade as the next contenders battle.
Yeah.
Right, but they've done this.
I'd like to see that fight.
That's what I was going to say, and I wouldn't be mad at that either because I agree they both have a legitimate claim now at next shot in line. So stack them up, throw them on the same fucking card. Make a hell of a highlight out of it next month, Yep. They want to make that quick turnaround. Let's fucking do it. But
they've done this. They've done that way too many times. Like just during the last 3 months. Oh, a new person coming into the weight division. Oh, they're a big name in this weight division. Yeah, they instantly get a fucking title shot. That doesn't make fucking sense.
Yep, it's interesting, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
We're living in strange times. That's what I'll say.
Yeah,
that's for damn sure. Next quick little moment I want to talk about. Philip Hawes, man.
Dude.
I gotta say, it sure as hell starting to seem, or did at this point at least, like Robert Whittaker's whole camp has suspect chins. Malkoun apparently, for some reason, didn't get credit for it until during the fight, but he's been Robert Whittaker's main training partner for the last 4 years. This is literally a guy who has helped Robert Whittaker prepare for both the Yoel Romero fights and the Adesanya/Gastelum match. So this is a guy who's been with Rob for a minute and got folded like a cheap taco. Man, I don't have anything against Philip Hawes. I just haven't seen anything out of Phil Hawes to really make me pay attention. And then we see him turn Malkoun into a fucking Stretch Armstrong doll, heaped into a fucking pile, dude.
It was a beautiful KO.
It really, really was. And it was patient and it was technical. He didn't rush it. He didn't dive in. He let it go where it came. And then he stepped back and let it fucking fall so the ref could catch homeboy as he fucking crumpled off the cage.
He didn't rush it. 18-second knockout.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying
we'll be done in under a minute.
Yeah, he could have dove in and went crazy and turned it into a sprawl instead of a knockout.
Yeah.
We've seen several of those where you get a good shot and instead of waiting for the next follow-up to end it, they dive in and then it turns into an actual grappling match where you could have finished a fight. Hawes had the frame of mind to stop knowing that shot landed clean, wait for it, land that follow-up, and as he folded over, he just backed up.
I mean, as you say, steel sharpens steel. I mean, he trains with Whitaker, so he knows some shit.
Yeah, he is the steel that sharpens Whitaker, not the other way around.
Obviously, because you know what that tells me? If his chin was that suspect, I think Whitaker may have put it on him a time or two in the gym, because Whitaker's no slouch when it comes to hitting people hard.
No, he's not. So, yeah. What you gonna do? Hopefully Malkoun goes back to the drawing board and tries this whole UFC debut all over again with a little bit different of a game plan.
Yeah.
Moving along from there real quick. Holy shit, what a fucking what a fucking people's co-main event. I fucking like Walt Harris, and I think Walt Harris has a lot of fucking potential if he keeps his fucking head on his shoulders. But when Walt Harris loses fucking track of what's happening and lets the game plan kind of wander off and tries to fight in the moment, he just doesn't have the fight IQ to freestyle in the octagon. He needs a game plan. He needs to stick with it, because we saw against Volkov, when Walt Harris can do what he wants to do, he doesn't put it together. He gets too shinied with everything going on, and he just can't stay in the fucking lane like he needs to. Volkov crumpled him, man. Volkov hit him with a straight up Anderson Silva, Vitor Belfort fucking face kick, but because of how big they are, it landed in Walt Harris's gut and just turned him into a Malkoun pile. And it's fucking weird because I don't think Volkov should have been in title contention ever, even when he was. And I don't think that he deserves to be there now. But after crumpling a dude like Walt Harris as easily as he did, I can't see how Dana's not going to start trying to talk about throwing him back at the top 5 guys in the fucking division again. And I don't think that's going to end well for Volkov. Like, props for a great finish on Walt Harris, but that's about as high up that list as I think you're going to get a finish like that from Volkov.
Can we take a second to just address this? I'm going to address this as nicely as I can. What the fuck is with your cover-up tattoo?
Yeah, I get that the fucking stingray wasn't the most, metal tattoo you could have in fucking UFC, but the giant, obnoxious cover-up they put over it that wasn't, I'm hoping not finished yet.
Yeah, it didn't look finished to me.
However, as the guy who's got bad tattoos, that's a bad tattoo.
However, I will give him credit. He did stick his toes so far up under the ribs of Walt Harris, he had no objection but to fold.
Yeah, he was tickling the diaphragm from the inside with a big toe on that kick.
Oh yeah, that was a hell of a body kick. Fucking gnarly. What's really surprising for me is I was still pretty coherent during this, because I think I was about 6 whiskeys deep at that point. Mind you, that's pretty early in the day for me, because this card was done by 4 p.m., but had to start a little early on Saturday, unfortunately.
Right.
But, smoking meats, watching fights. What else do? You drink whiskey.
That's kind of how you're supposed to do it, really.
Yeah, but no, that was a hell of a performance, and the Walt Harris thing, I think that's for me, these last 2 fights, I keep saying, this is going to be where Walt becomes that really dangerous animal. I'm thinking he's still having some mental issues with losing his daughter, and I think that's kind of what's causing some of the issues that we're seeing during his fights. I don't think he's completely there yet. To be honest, I wouldn't mind if we saw him take a year off.
That's what I was just going to say. I honestly feel like I get that he wanted to get back in there so he didn't completely fall off the horse. But we have now seen twice in a row he's not ready to be back in the fucking saddle yet. And it has nothing to do with his physical ability. He's strong as shit. He can punch like a motherfucker. He can defend a takedown like a son of a bitch. He's still very much physically Walt Harris. But mentally, you saw how lost he was in that octagon. He's not back yet. That's a legitimately world-changing, traumatic experience that he went through. And I agree completely. I feel like he's rushing through it to get back to fighting, to try and help grasp his sense of normality, but he's not processed it yet. He's not over it, and it's really impacting his life now in more ways than one.
Well,
and
yeah.
I hate to see that.
And that's what it looks like to me. I was hoping that he was going to turn that really big fucking negative into something positive by using it as fuel, using it as a rage machine to go in there and just fucking murder that division. But it just didn't happen. Although it didn't help that his first fight fucking back was against the Reem, and the Reem had been looking mighty fucking good lately. So
I agree completely. I also think people don't give enough credit the fact that he came back to someone as talented and as technical as the Reem, who was able to articulately stop the fight without breaking Walt Harris, which he absolutely could have. He could have decimated him, and you saw the restraint and the technique and the respect that someone like only Overeem could have shown in that moment. That could have been way, way bad if it would have been someone like a fucking Derek Lewis instead of someone like an Overeem.
Yeah, and that's not saying anything bad about Derek Lewis either.
No, not at all. But in this situation,
yeah, I want to see him take some time off. As much as I love Walt Harris, I want to see him take some time off and get his head right, because I think that's a lot of what this has to do with.
Yeah, process, get yourself right, man. We know you're strong. We know you can keep fighting. Get your fucking head right so you're able to keep fighting. Wrong mouse. There we go. That being said, that will bring us to Saturday night's co-main event of the evening. Man, the thing about this show, when we get it right, we get it fucking right. The opposite side of that coin, when we fuck it up spectacularly with fucking glitter. Boy, did I fucking call this one ass backwards. To be fair, because I'm going to give it back here in a minute, we found out yesterday that Jared Cannonier broke his arm in round 1 of that fight and continued in and never let up. Held on through that whole fight with a broken arm. You would not know that by watching that fight. I didn't know that. I watched it live. I had no idea. Jared broke his arm in round 1 of that fight and then went the distance. That being said, he did not do enough in that fight to win that fight. And the only way he was going to get to follow that beautiful game plan that both he and Dana, and to a lesser degree Israel Adesanya, had already laid out for him, was to do enough in that fight to end Robert Whittaker definitively and keep moving along that path. And I don't know 100% for sure if it was that arm breaking in round 1 or if there was something else going on, but we did not see enough out of Jared Cannonier compared to what we did see out of Robert Whittaker to keep that path moving along. And the opposite of that is that I don't think Robert Whittaker came into this fight doing anything spectacular, doing anything we hadn't seen before, doing anything new, really. He looked very much in this fight against Cannonier like the Robert Whittaker we saw in every other fight we have seen before this. Maybe a little bit more refreshed, maybe a little bit more pep in his step early on, but I didn't see anything different that we have seen in every other Robert Whittaker fight. And I get that they're going to change the playbook now, that because Cannonier is out, that there's talks about giving Bobby Knuckles his rematch against Adesanya, and I'm going to come out right fucking now and say that's a bad idea. If Robert Whittaker has not completely fucking changed his game plan, which he clearly has not, you are not going to get a better result against a much better than previously sought Adesanya. I think it goes quicker, and I think it goes worse if they make that rematch happen. This is not an Alexander Volkanovski, Max Holloway type of rematch. That's going to be another 5-round banger that was close like the first one. This is a Izzy fucked you up and had you figured out in the first fight in under 4 fucking rounds, and he's improved since then and you haven't. So it doesn't go 3, in my opinion, in a rematch.
You know,
hats off to Whittaker for the win, but
I'll say he did look similar. I won't say that he looked the same as he has in previous fights. He looked a lot crisper in this fight. A lot crisper, in my opinion. Cannonier, unbeknownst to me, being as we found out later in the week that he had broken his arm, I think that may have had to do with the reason why Whittaker looked so crisp. However, I'm not going to take that away from him because I don't fucking know that.
That's I said, I'm not for sure.
And look, Cannonier, you fought with a broken arm. Dude, that's fucking amazing. But to be honest, we didn't, when it came out that he broke it in round 1, it didn't say when he broke it in round 1.
No.
And right from the get-go of that fight, Whittaker was dictating the fight.
He controlled the
so
match
I
the
mean,
whole time.
I can't say that Cannonier wouldn't have had a chance to come back and put something together, but it looked like Whittaker dictated that fight. And I don't know how long it was in before the actual arm broke. I guess I could go back and watch it and kind of guess.
Right.
But Whittaker really dominated that entire fight from start to finish, like from the first bell all the way to the end. And I'm sure a lot of that had to do with the broken arm, but at the same point, when they're both fresh in there at the start and he was still dominating, I have to say Whittaker was on point that day. Now, did he do anything absolutely crazy that was mind-blowing differently than he's done before? No. But man, was he was on point of what we saw when he was like on his way up to the belt.
Right. When he was Bobby Knuckles still.
And that's kind of a scary thing, because if he stays on that track, that might do the trick, because he might be a little bit snappier. Now, I'm not saying he's going to beat Adesanya by any means, but I'm thinking he can give him a good run from his money if he can keep that snappiness up that he looked and as crisp as he did. But I don't think he'll beat him. I mean, sorry, dude. You had a good run. All those injury-plagued fucking couple of years there, dude. That I think that's really what fucked him the most.
I agree completely. I think he spent his prime recovering from injuries, basically.
Well, I mean, he's gonna stay ranked number 1 right now, and I mean, I did see something about an article. He said, "I'm not asking for a rematch right now." Said, but I want it at some point. And,
Well,
I can't blame him.
He said in his post-fight interview, regardless of win or lose, he's taking the rest of this year off because he wants to be able to spend Christmas with his kids. And he's got a new baby due the second week in January. He says, so I'm not going to even consider starting a training camp for another fight, regardless of who it's for, until at least February, because I'm not going to miss my child's birth, and I'm not going to miss spending Christmas with my kids.
Dude,
so
that's fucking,
you can't be mad at that at all.
Not to mention, he's 4 or 5 kids deep now. Way too many for me, dude.
I think this is going to be his 6th kid born in January. If I remember right.
Dude, time to pull out, man. And I'm not saying from the fight game.
Right? Yeah, time to start wearing a different kind of glove, Rob.
Man, his pullout game is way worse than Bush's.
Dude, Rob Whittaker can't pull out of a driveway. Are you kidding me?
He's like me, shit.
Oh, kids these days, I tell you.
I mean, who's left in that division?
There's not a lot of the old guard. That's the problem with that division, is that 185 right now is full of new guys working their way up. The Comzat Chamayos.
I mean, who knows? Fucking Chimaev might whip out his next fight whenever that happens to be, and then he's like, I don't care. I smash his face.
We'll talk about that in just a minute.
Shot in 10 seconds.
It's official. We've got a new one for Comzat. We'll talk
They've
about
got a new one.
No shit.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. We'll talk about it in just a minute.
Fuck.
Yeah.
I missed that.
Oh yeah.
Now I'm fucking excited. Choo choo,
Oh yeah.
motherfuckers.
Oh yeah.
Choo.
No. So that rushing that through, obviously, main event, Justin Gaethje rushed, point blank, end of sentence. Justin Gaethje did not stick to his game plan. He got in there and he let Khabib dictate when, where, and how that fight was going to happen. And you can't let Khabib follow his game plan, because if you let Khabib do what Khabib wants to do, Khabib's going to wet blanket you and he's going to end you. And that's exactly what the fuck he did. But he didn't just wet blanket you and ended you. He actually threw some fucking legitimate jiu-jitsu in, threw some impressive fucking submission work in, and said, to his credit, I don't know if it's true or not, but said that because he knew that Justin Gaethje's parents were there, he didn't want to take the armbar and hurt Gaethje in front of his family, which is why he chose to roll and grab the triangle instead, because you can go to sleep, wake back up, and not have damage. Fuck Khabib 3 ways from a Sunday regardless. I don't like him as a person. I don't like him as a fighter, but I respect that decision if that is true.
I have a feeling that was probably true, because, I mean, if you watch what they said during the Gaethje's, all of his press engagements, he said he was not going to tap. Yep. Look, we all know he was trying to tap, but that's not the point.
Right.
So I'm pretty sure Khabib knew that, and I'm going to say, yeah, he was probably truthful. And to be honest, that's a really fucking commendable thing to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hate the guy or not, look, I'm not a big fan of him. I can't say that I dislike him all that much. I've just never been a fan of his style. And that's the biggest thing for me. But he absolutely put on a fucking beautiful performance.
Absolutely.
And although I will say about the performance as a whole, Gaethje did not look like Gaethje, which I'm wondering if that's because of the straightforward pressure that Khabib was bringing right off the get-go, because he was, and he didn't look like he was afraid of any strikes, which, dude, more power fucking to you, dude. But either way, he went straight into what he works, the takedown. About the end of the first round, that's where we seen that attempted armbar in the first round. And then eventually it led to the triangle fucking taking at Gaethje, which, dude, and then I'm not even mad about it. I thought Gaethje had a really good chance of winning, but was obviously way farther from the truth than I thought. Which, it's kind of a strange thing to see him drop the gloves and say, yeah, I'm going to retire. Because, when you're that fucking dominant, as much as I dislike the guy, he's a dominant fucking champion. And a dominant all the way up from the time he started in the UFC. Every fight he had, he was dominating people. I mean, it's kind of strange to see that. However, good on you for knowing to go out officially, air quotes for those of you who aren't listening, because there were some other things that came to light this weekend. I don't know if you wanted to let them out or.
Oh, it's in the news segment. I just gotta finish this little wrap up and then
I'm just saying, it's to say I'm gonna retire, take the gloves off, set them down in the middle of the cage during your interview. And if anything, as much as I dislike him, my condolences to him for losing his father. I've been down that road. That is a shitty thing to have to go through. And not to mention, within a matter of 3 months, he was out there fighting somebody without his main guy in this corner, being his father, and doing it in a dominant fashion. So my hat's off to him. What a hell of a career if he decides to stay retired.
Right. So
I want him to retire. Last one for dad. That's it. I think that would be a fucking beautiful way to step away. Yeah, the last fight's for dad. That's it.
I agree. I understand that his father's quote unquote plan for him was 30-0 and then retire, but his plan was also to be there with him for 30-0.
Yeah. Last one for
agree.
dad.
20-0, 29-0. The last one was for dad. I agree.
And I think this was the only pick of mine that was well known throughout the week. I didn't get a chance to throw my picks in because I was doing my Saturday DIYing show during the pay-per-view.
Right.
And when someone asked me, "Fresh, are you watching the fights?" I said, "I don't need to, because this is going to be a Khabib title defense." As much as I like Justin Gaethje, he did not have a chance against this man. He's too dumb to quit. So if what Khabib said was true, and he switched it over to a triangle so that he had no choice but to be ended, good on him. But this went exactly like I thought it was going to. Like, he felt him out in the first round. He gave him a couple strikes, playing around, playing his game for a minute, and then it turned into a Khabib title defense. And when a Khabib title defense gets going, there's not a lot, no matter how skilled you are, that you can do to stop it. So, yeah. So that's about all I got to say was Khabib being Khabib, and good on him for staying true to his word. He said he was going to do it. He said, "I will retire after this fight." So if he stays that way, who knows what the future holds? But right. I mean, is there enough money in that dump truck that Dana will back up to lure him back out? We'll see.
That I thought about that, but between you and I, we've dealt with Muslim communities enough.
Yeah.
Money is not everything to them.
No, it's not. I don't know that there's enough money in the dump truck to get him to come.
I don't think there's a big enough dump truck in the fucking world to carry enough money for that.
Yeah.
No, but there is some interesting news about that. We'll talk about in just a little bit. I have an unpopular opinion about how and why this fight played out the way it did. And it hasn't been talked about by many folks that I have seen, at least. But based on watching all of the embedded, watching the social media, watching all of the buildup, the focus on both of these guys and on everything going on behind the scenes, it looked to me, best intentions aside, like actually having his parents there was detrimental to Justin Gaethje's performance. I understand wanting to have your parents there while you compete for potentially your first official world title in the UFC, because they've been there since you were 9 years old, supporting you the whole way. I 100% understand that. I get it. I agree with it 100%. They should have fucking been there. At the same time, the Justin Gaethje that we saw did not perform like any other Justin Gaethje we have seen leading up to this fight. This man had 6 fights, 7 bonuses for a fucking reason. When he comes out there, there is no gun shy. There is no nervous. Title fight, interim title fight, nobody fucking fight, main event, doesn't fucking matter. World Series of Fighting, UFC fighting, doesn't fucking matter. Justin Gaethje does not come out of an octagon and look nervous until we get into title fight, where he spent the entire week literally courting his parents around with him, reminding himself of how big the event is, and then having his parents cage side while he fought. I understand the sentiment and I understand the reasoning, but I think the way that this worked out, having them there watching him, actually did him more harm than good. And I think we saw it in his performance against Khabib. I'm not saying by any stretch of the imagination that's why he lost. Khabib did what Khabib does, and you can't deny that, regardless of how you feel about him. Credit where credit is fucking due. But I'm saying the noticeable difference in the Justin Gaethje we saw versus the Justin Gaethje we have seen in every other time we have ever seen him in the octagon, I can't help but feel part of that was because his parents there changed his mentality.
I think it definitely may have swayed his focus a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And in a fight against a guy like Khabib, where you know it's going to be literal 100% pressure from opening bell to closing bell, you can't have even a little bit of focus distracted from you like that. And I think that's part of why we saw he just couldn't ever fucking get it in gear. He never could get it in gear and get progress going.
Yeah, like that's why I've never let like a fucking girlfriend or my fucking ex-wife fucking join and watch my events cage side. Never. Because I'm not going to be thinking about fucking fighting. I'm going to be thinking like, oh, I hope she doesn't think I'm fucking getting killed right now.
Yep.
Or who is this psychopath?
Yeah.
Because that's fucking Justin Gaethje. He's a fucking psychopath.
Yeah, that dude is Looney fucking Tunes, legit. When the fucking bell rings, exactly.
Yeah, and having your parents there and thinking about, oh, are they going to see the same person? Like,
Right.
Are they gonna look at me the same way?
Yeah, I was
after
gonna say,
this?
and then can you look at him the same after that's over? Exactly. I think it's something that's got to be said, and not a lot of people are saying it right now. Everybody's talking about how Khabib did so great. Well, yeah, he did, but there's two sides to that fucking coin, and I think part of it has to be acknowledged that this might have actually backfired a little bit on Gaethje's part, sadly.
Yeah. Yeah, and back when I was a wrestler, like my parents came to a lot of my meets, and I was fairly average until like we got to state, and my parents couldn't make it, and I had people talking to me and just like get me just fucking crazy, and all of a sudden I turned into a way different person and a way different wrestler, and kind of blew the coach's mind a couple times, like, dude, you take that dude out in like 18 seconds? I'm like, fuck him. What's next?
Right.
So yeah, there's a lot to be said for not having someone around to distract you or not let you get into that mindset you have to be that type of athlete. So
especially at that level.
Yeah, especially at that level when you're looking, all right, this is the number one dude in the world.
Yeah. Right.
There were some air quotes once again for everybody listening at home on the podcast. There's the number one dude in the world, supposedly, Khabib. And getting in there and being hesitant at all, dude, you're gonna get fucking wrecked.
Yeah.
I mean, you were probably gonna get wrecked to start with, but
right,
shit didn't go like they took away that puncher's chance, and the crazy took the crazy out of you, man.
Right.
Should never let it happen.
To quote Matt and Trey, if you pizza when you're supposed to French fry, not gonna have a good time.
Yep.
So overall recap for 254. Fight of the night award was given to Nathaniel Wood versus Casey Kenny. Another fucking lackluster Casey Kenny performance. He got the fucking W again. Wood versus Kenny did get performance of the night, so at least Nathaniel Wood got something out of that. Performance of the night, Ankalaev for putting Kutalaba to fucking sleep, as well as any discussion about that being a fucking bad call on the first stoppage. And then, of course, Khabib got the bonus for his final UFC fight, I say using air quotes.
Yeah.
So
with that beautiful submission, they had to give it to him.
That's what I said. Understandably, it was a great submission. It was the main event. It was his last fucking fight, potentially. I get it. I'd give him the extra 50 G's. It's okay.
Hey, as much as I hate to say it, it was nicer than Lauren Murphy's fucking submission.
It was. So,
not to mention, at first it looked like it was going to be a mounted triangle, right, and then it ended up on his back as just a regular triangle. I was like, well, fuck. I was kind of hoping for the mounted triangle. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I was too. I was like, look at this shit. Yeah, no, it's okay. It'll all work out eventually. So we do have a little bit of news to get into here before we get into our breakdown of this week's official card here. The first thing I want to talk about real quick, like we kind of mentioned a little bit earlier, Vera Ortega was one of the ladies supposed to fight on the main card this evening for Bellator 250. They found out last night that she has got herself a ticket to the Backstreet Boys, and that fight was pulled from the card. And then the other one that we were hinting towards earlier during the lead up here, Nick Newell's match was officially pulled off of this card yesterday when the Connecticut State Athletic Commission refused to medically sanction him and did not officially release a reason as to why. So that's one of the reasons why we actually had to start a little bit late and still only got just the main event this evening. There were two more fights that were supposed to be on that card. Originally, we had it laid out to where we would be able to commentate the co-main and main event on the Bellator card, and it would have rolled us right into our normal start time here. But with those other two fights off the card, it threw everything out of whack as well. That's what it was that threw it all out of whack. We have Backstreet Boys ticket.
I want to go out on a limb here, and I think I know what caused him to not get medically sanctioned. It's all those fucking fire memes that motherfucker is constantly putting on social media versus training videos that caused him to burn his hands.
I don't understand how he has fingerprint. Yeah, I don't understand how he has fingerprints at this point.
Yeah, dude. Look, if you're questioning if you're listening, questioning this, go look up Nick Newell's Instagram. Just watch his daily stories. There's got to be 50 of those motherfuckers a day, and 99% of them are memes.
Yeah, he's hard. He's hard in the paint on Instagram for sure. Oh, so next outage, I guess, would be the phrase here to report. The last minute adjustment fight for this weekend where Kevin Holland stepped in to take on Muradov has also been changed again because now Muradov is out, and last minute, once again, Kevin Holland will be taking on someone new coming, making their debut as a Hoorah soup can. So
I'm starting to feel bad for Kevin Holland.
Yeah, this is 2 out of his 3 fights in the UFC so far being last minute new guy debut fights. Like, I'll give him credit. He got really fucking lucky that he got Joaquin Buckley when he did, because we've seen since then that was very much a different guy than Joaquin Buckley actually is. But I'm kind of inclined to think that this is probably going to be a very similar match to the way that one was. But we'll talk a little bit more about that later on when we get into the card. But yeah, Muradov is already out, so we've got another Kevin Holland facing a random fucking no-name new guy again this weekend. Fucking craziness. We do have some interesting fight announcements that I do want to go over again real quick here. The first one we got was December 10th. We will see Lima McFarlane back in the cage to defend the Bellator Ladies 125 title against Juliana Velasquez, which will be a great fucking fight. Both of those ladies are fucking scrappers. That's going to be an excellent fucking match. I'm very excited for that one.
That's a little girl fight.
Yeah, little 125-pound ladies going the fuck at it, and they're both badasses too. So that's going to be a fun fucking fight to talk about. We got a pair of last-minute announcements to the December 12th UFC 256 card. The first one, they are talking about making the premier prelim fight would be Gavin Tucker versus Billy Quarantillo, which would be an interesting little guy fucking scrap. They're both very fucking exciting to watch. The other one,
all right.
The other one they are talking about that they just added, they are saying is potentially the new co-main event for 256, depending on how this card shakes loose. Or not co-main, the people's co-main event, excuse me. Third to last fight. JDS, Junior Dos Santos, versus Cyril Gane. Poor Cyril Gane has had 3 fights in a row fall out on him because his opponent either got hurt or got themselves a fucking ticket. I think this is the 4th fight he has booked in the last 4 months now. Hopefully
he's just standing outside the UFC. He's just standing outside the Apex like, I'll fight anybody, dude.
Like, he's out there with a boombox in the rain, just like a fucking cardboard sign that says, give me a fight. Like, you got to feel bad for a dude that trains that much and gets that many camps in a row cut short. So I have a feeling JDS is going to come through for us here, and we're going to get to see a good fucking fight. So there are a pair of announcements now for the weekend after UFC 256, the December 19th card. The first one that they announced was an actual, I think this is the second rebooking it's had. First was way early in the summer. The second one was in the end of August, I believe, and it got moved again. They are officially now rebooking it for December 19th, Tyson Nam versus Matt Schnell. That's going to be a very exciting little guy fucking firework matchup.
Yeah.
The other one that they announced is one that TJ and I were talking about a little earlier. It is now officially official. December 19th will host Leon Edwards versus Comzat Chamayos.
Leon Edwards, huh?
Yeah, Leon Edwards went on Twitter, bitched about no one wanting to take a fight with him. They pulled him out of the rankings.
Yeah, mysteriously. He was ranked what, number 4
Number 3. He was ranked number 3 in the welterweight division. Bitched when Comzat Chimaev called him out, said that there's no reason for him to fight an unranked fighter being a ranked fighter, that he better keep on looking somewhere else. The next morning, the rankings come out again, updated. Leon Edwards is not in the rankings at all. They pulled him completely off the fucking list from number 3. The next day, he announces he's going to accept a fight with Comzat Chimaev. The following day, they release an updated rankings list. Leon Edwards is back at number 3 now that he's got that fight secured with Comzat Chimaev. It's the damnedest thing.
It's so odd how things like this happen.
Isn't it? Strange how that works out.
I'm just going to say this. In defense of no one, absolutely fucking all, the UFC did some dirty shit right there to make that fight happen.
Yes, they absolutely
And to be honest,
did.
Look, I like what I've seen out of Comzat Chimaev so far. His mouthiness, his eagerness, and he's backing it up. But I really hope he gets his fucking shit kicked in this fight. And only for this reason, I think the UFC strong-armed them into this fight.
Yes.
Absolutely.
They're rushing him.
So the dude needs his shit kicked in, so that way they can understand, stop sending new guys straight to the top.
Yeah.
Is Leon Edwards the dude to stop Comzat Chimaev, though?
And that's part of the problem, in my opinion, is because we've seen this a lot lately, that the UFC really needs a new star, and they're willing to fucking fast track as many of these young, eager guys as they can. Casey Kenny got 2 fights in 3 weeks, and they've already got him announced for another fight at the end of December, I believe. Like, he's going to have 4 fights in 7 months. None of them exciting worth of shit. Comzat Chimaev, to be fair, had 2 very exciting fights and then a mediocre exciting fight in the span of 2.5 months. Now we're talking about he's got another fight lined up for December 19th, but we still have not officially heard what happened to the fight that he originally had booked for November 9th against Damian Maia after Fight Island got finished.
I thought we did hear that Damian Maia wasn't going to be healed up in time, wasn't going to be able to do a full camp
Not
again.
officially.
I thought Dana came out and said that.
No, it was all speculation. Dana said he wasn't sure if Damian would be ready or not, but if he was, that fight was a lock.
I wanted to see that fight.
I wanted to see that fight too. And I think realistically, Comzat versus Damian Maia, ranking wise, makes a fuck ton of a lot more sense than Comzat versus Leon Edwards at number 3.
Well, and I think the shitty part here, Leon loses, Comzat is immediately in title talks.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
3 fights into the UFC, title talks.
Yeah.
Which, that's why I'm saying, as much as I hate to say it, because I've liked what I've seen out of Comzat, he needs to have his shit kicked in first.
Too fast. Yeah, they're trying to jump that ladder too fucking quick with him. I agree.
But Fresh does bring up a good point. Is Leon the one to do it?
Is Leon the one to stop that train? Like, with the skills that I've seen, like, I don't know that Leon Edwards is the dude to stop it. Like, Dana might have been looking through those rankings, like, oh, there's my guy.
Yeah,
I
think that's exactly what it was. I think Dana was like, how can I get this guy directly to a title shot that no one can argue against the easiest?
Yeah.
Nobody else wants to fight
Leon Edwards. There you are, my friend.
Somehow he's ranked number 3. Oh, look at this. Comzat will walk through him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now Comzat's ranked number 3 after that. So how do you deny him fucking title shot when he's ranked number 3? 2 and 1 are tied up already.
Yeah. And we were talking about this after his second win. We started talking about this. Like,
we saw
dude could be in the title picture in less than a year.
Yep.
Like, he gets this next fight out of the way. He gets himself a ranked dude, and then after that, like, the gate's open.
Even if he would have gotten the Damian Maia fight, Maia was ranked inside the top 10.
Yeah, Maia was.
Or still is ranked inside the top 10. They haven't dropped.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know how true it was that, would he be able to get healthy enough for this fight with Comzat Chimaev? Like, let's assume. Let's take people at their word that there's no way he was going to be healed up in time for this fight.
Right.
Like, the dude has earned at least a shot at somebody with a rank, by dominating his way through a couple of guys that were supposed to be hot prospects. And then this third fight,
I can agree with that, but not a number 3. But
not a number 3. No, he doesn't deserve a number 3. But I mean, like I said, at this point, we know exactly what's going on. We'll take him at his word that Damian Maia can't go. But we're also going to assume that freaking Dana White is going like this, looking through that list and saying, there's the guy where I can plug him in. This is the dude that I know for a fact can't stop this guy unless he gets that lucky puncher's chance. It's the only way he's going to beat this guy. I'm going to plug him in there. And that's exactly what happened. And Leon Edwards, like, choo-choo, motherfucker, this train is rolling.
So here's what it is. Because Neil Magny accepted the call out when Chimaev called him out. Neil Magny's number 9. Damian Maia is ranked number 6.
Yeah.
Wonderboy Thompson also accepted the call out from Chimaev.
And
Stephen Thompson's number 5.
2, right?
Thompson's number 5.
Oh, he's 5?
But Masvidal's number 4. Gilbert Burns is number 2. Colby Covington is number 1. Kamaru and Gilbert are tied up. Colby and Jorge are looking like they're most likely going to be tied up. If not Jorge and fucking Nate Diaz too. That leaves Leon Edwards there at 3.
Yeah, there's not a lot of other ranked guys you could get him against.
The Wonderboy fight at 5.
That fucking Wonderboy fight would have been awesome though, right?
It would have been great, but it wouldn't have given him enough juice to call for a title shot afterwards.
Sure enough.
Same thing with Damian Maia at 6. That would have put him at the doorstep, but they still would have told him they needed top 5. So
this might be possibly because, look, I'll say it, the top of that division has been pretty stale.
Yeah. I would love to see Comzat Chimaev versus Colby Covington. I would love to see that fight.
See, I would have liked to see the Neil Magny fight.
Oh yeah, Neil Magny.
Because Neil Magny's the same size, but a fucking world-class difference in wrestling. And he wouldn't have, the second he hit Neil Magny twice, Neil would have put him on the ground. Neil's not going to stand and fucking bang with you. He will if he's doing good, but if you're starting to fucking hit him, he's going to put you on your ass. And we haven't seen that against Chimaev yet.
Yeah, all we've seen is people not be able to stop
not going for
when he decides to take you down.
Yeah, so. I think that's exactly what it was. They were looking down the list, and Edwards was the only name that stuck out that they could strong arm into doing what the fuck they wanted here.
Yeah.
I will say that is pretty shoddy of them to just completely remove him from the fucking rankings. And you're going to take the fight? Okay, here you go. Have your ranking back.
We'll put you back in the rankings now. Yeah, now that we know you're taking that fight.
I mean, yeah, we know
for him.
I mean, it's clear as day. It's clear as day what happened. I mean, they want this guy at the top of the division. Yeah. I mean, he's an entertaining fighter. He's a fairly entertaining interview. I mean.
He's definitely got the entertaining interview thing going on. I'll smash him. I'll smash him. I'll smash him.
I just smashed, bro. Like he amuses me, but I mean, based on the skills I've seen out of him so far, which I mean, it's all been just brief fucking glimpses.
Right.
Like what? One dude took him past the first round.
Yeah.
And he proceeded to wreck his shop.
23 seconds into that fucking second round, he ended it.
Yeah. He just wrecked his shop. So I mean, I'd want to see this dude against these higher end guys. And like I said, I think poor Leon just got the short end of the stick. He's the loose end that could have happened.
Yeah, they're gonna make him the sacrificial lamb.
Yeah.
Every time I see an interview with him, every time I hear, I just smash. I just
smash, bro.
Every time I hear that, I think about, I just want to bang, bro. I just want to bang,
bro.
Let me bang. Come on, man.
He's like the Dagestani "let me bang, bro" guy.
Every time I hear it.
Let me smash, Data.
Let me smash, bro.
Let me smash, man.
Oh, good shit. Good shit.
Can we get a meme of that going around right now?
Right? No shit.
And you got to give the guy credit because he's been nothing but pursuing more fights.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
And
he's
there's
fucking hungry.
Not a lot of other fighters.
He would have fought 10 more times by now if they let him.
Yeah,
he's fucking hungry for it.
We'll see how it turns out though, because there's always a chance that Leon could surprise us. It's a slim chance.
Yeah,
there's always a chance. So the other fight announcement I want to talk about real quick before we move on, another guy that they are clearly going to try and just ram up the fucking ladder as quick as possible here. Yuri Prochaska, the former KSW champion that they brought in, has officially got himself a fight booked February 27th against Dominic Reyes.
Ooh.
One fight in the division, and they are giving him the number 2 guy now. So, or I guess he's the number 1 ranked guy, number 2 in the division. for the champion. So yeah, one fight in the division that was not all that impressive to begin with, and they are now going to give him Dominic Reyes, putting him in a similar situation to Chimaev up at fucking light heavyweight.
I have a strange feeling with that's a fight to get Reyes back on the winning side of things.
I agree that, and it also keeps Reyes from getting stagnant, because now they are already talking about potentially beginning of March, Israel Adesanya versus Jan Blachowicz for the 205 belt. Because Adesanya said International Fight Week 2021, he wants to fight John Jones in July at light heavyweight. He's pretty much cleared out 185 right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's a tall order even for Adesanya.
I agree. But with that rumor even being on the horizon, that's going to keep the top of that division on their fucking toes. And if you combined the title already potentially being up for grabs with somebody who's not even in the division, with the fact that now they're giving Prochaska this fight against Reyes, the number one guy in the division, with one other fight in the fucking division to begin with, that's going to make these guys at light heavyweight shit or get off the pot, because they're willing to move the division whether you're in it or not. I'm not saying it's right, but I think it's going to get some action stirred up at 205 again, which they desperately fucking need.
Yeah.
So from there, we also got yesterday, which I thought was unique timing, very UFC-esque, if you will. Bellator has announced that they are, quote unquote, trimming the fat on their roster. Unlike the UFC, if you are not actively under contract, you are not considered on the Bellator roster. You can still be a UFC fighter and be negotiating your contract. Bellator does not see things that way. If you are in the process of negotiating a contract but do not have a current one, you are considered unrostered by Bellator. That doesn't mean you can't come back. That means you are no longer active, and they only consider active contracted fighters on the Bellator roster. We got an announcement with a fucking laundry list Wednesday of fighters that they have officially now unrostered. Bear with me, because there's a couple here and you should recognize a few. So we'll start from the fucking lesser known guys and we'll work our way up. Hatis Oziurt, Christina William, Rudy Shafroth, Rafael Carvalho, Tuco Tucos, Joe Schilling, David Rickles, Matthias Piskjorg, Ian Pascu, Richard Keeley, who just fought fucking MVP, Hayam Ghazali, who just won last weekend, Mihail Nika, Salim Mukadinov, Jeremiah Labiano, Chris Lencioni, who we just saw 3 fucking weeks ago dominate, Daniel Crawford, Adil Benjelani, Adel Altomin, AJ Agazaram, who is a fucking clown and should have been cut a long time ago, but still had an active contract after his last fight a little over a month ago, Mike Kimball, who we just saw in a great fucking fight 2 weeks ago, Sean Bunch, Manny Vasquez, Vinicius Zani, which we just saw 2 fucking weeks ago, Roy Nelson, who we just saw 3 weeks ago, Frank Mir, Derek Campos, Ricky Bandejas, who we just saw 3 weeks ago, and Joe Warren. On top of that, as if that fucking list of fighters wasn't enough, we also got 3 official formal announcements from Bellator. Not that they are not under contract, not that they are renewing contracts, they are officially retiring. The first one from Pat Curran, who has absolutely earned himself a fucking retirement. The second official retirement is from John Fitch. We saw that retirement. We assumed it was going to be official. It is now official. That dude should have retired, but it's nice to see him hang him up. The third official retirement from Bellator this week was from Rafael Lovato Jr. After his medical condition, he relinquished his belt, which is how we had the potential champ fight this evening. And he has officially announced he is not coming back. His health is now his priority. Fighting is in the past. He's done with that. He's officially retired. So hats off to that gentleman right there. But god damn if that is not a fucking laundry list of some of the notable names that Bellator had on their roster. They specifically have mentioned that they are not trying to get rid of these individuals, but they are, again, unrostered at the moment. Joe Schilling made his announcement today that he is officially looking at potentially going to one championship because he is not going back to Bellator kickboxing. That's why he came to Bellator MMA to begin with. Couldn't make a living in Bellator kickboxing. No word on if he would consider going back to Glory or not. Honestly, I kind of hope he gets picked up with one. Joe Schilling is a bad enough motherfucker with his kickboxing. He's got a good enough MMA skill set. I think he would fit in real well with the kickboxing and Muay Thai heavy martial arts side over on one.
Maybe BKFC.
I don't think Joe would go there. I think Joe is smart enough to know that his hands are old and bare knuckle would not be good for them.
Fair enough.
Not that he couldn't do it. I think just the damage to the hands alone, as somebody who's been doing Muay Thai and kickboxing as long as Joe Schilling has, kind of the same reason I think we don't see John Wayne Parr go over there now that he's not officially kickboxing anymore. Because if it were the equivalent of bare knuckle kickboxing, John Wayne Parr would be a fucking god. But knowing that it's unwrapped fucking hands and how many times he's had to have surgery on his broken hands just from regular fucking kickboxing, yeah, I don't think we see Joe go over there. But on one hand, I have to say props to Bellator for being willing to cut that many of their notable fucking names. On the other hand, I think that's pretty fucking dumb considering they just made that giant fucking contract sign with CBS Sports to get rid of the recognizable names they could have been putting on CBS Sports. But we'll see how that works out because Scott Coker seems to, quote unquote, know what he's doing. So we'll see how that plays out for them in the long run.
You know, my thought on that, it is pretty strange, especially considering how much they went and poached other fighters. Like, while they're in the middle of contract negotiations. I mean, you picked up fucking, let's see, next weekend, Corey Anderson. You picked up the better of the brothers, in my opinion.
Right.
They picked up quite a few people coming out of the UFC that weren't bad fighters. They were just in the middle of contract negotiations that, oh, we can offer you better. But then you're going to let a lot of guys go like, okay, Frank Mir, whatever. He's already signed with BKFC. Not a big fucking deal.
Exactly.
Big Country, he's been in the clubhouse for like the last 4 years.
Yeah, Big Country's been phoning it in for a minute. That's not a big loss.
But I mean, still having him as a name there because he's recognizable.
Well, like the younger guys are the ones that blow me away. Ricky Bandejas is one of the hottest prospects they had and just put on a great fight 3 weeks ago. Mike Kimball, same fucking situation, just put on a fucking spectacular fight 2 weeks ago. Like, some of these guys we've seen in the last month and looked good.
Yeah, it's a strange thing to see, although I'm wondering if that's their way of saying, hey, those that want to fight, they'll come.
That's kind of what I'm thinking, is that they might have been doing more signing without promoting the signatures. So they've been building their staff and their roster up kind of quietly. And now they're at a position where they have enough people that they can afford to get rid of people like this because they're going to start sliding in the new talent that they just haven't been talking about yet.
And I can't even be mad at them for it. That's a smart move.
I'm happy to see growth. I'm just a little shocked that this is how they're going about it. I think
it is a little strange, but I think there might be a method to the madness here that we're not seeing.
Yep, agreed. So 2 more quick announcements here real quick, and then we'll get into some breakdowns. The first one, and one of the most important ones relevant coming into this weekend's fights that we're going to talk about in just a little bit, is we now have official word that we no longer have to worry about anyone getting arrested for bum rushing the octagon because of an apparel conflict. We now have gotten the official release from Reebok. Saturday night, Bryce Mitchell will be walking out to the octagon in Reebok-made camo print shorts.
Yes.
They finally fucking did it. We got an interview with Bryce Mitchell yesterday right after they announced it, and it was a good thing that they announced it because Bryce Mitchell had brought his Pit Viper camo shorts that he had made after he initially called for them and Reebok didn't do it. He was going to wear his Pit Viper shorts, and when he got to the check-in station at the fight, he was literally just going to throw his gear on the ground and then run into the octagon in his camo shorts anyway, prepared to get arrested or fight security guards. And then the UFC announced that they were going to go ahead, They got it. It's done. Reebok did it. We officially have Bryce Mitchell camo print Reebok fight kit shorts, and he will be debuting them Saturday night.
I'm not going to lie. After hearing the story, I'm kind of wishing they wouldn't have, just because I would have loved to seen that happen.
He was fully prepared. He had the plan worked out. He said he already talked to his coaches and told everybody what he was going to do. So be prepared to jump in because he's probably going to need help, but he was doing it anyway. Bryce fucking Mitchell, ladies and gentlemen. Thug nasty. What can you say? But the other thing that I wanted to talk about real quick before we get into our breakdowns, excuse me. TJ and I were actually kind of hinting about it earlier. Dana White came out this afternoon and said that since Saturday night, he and Khabib have been personally talking every single day since then. And despite saying that he was, quote unquote, officially retired, that the very special thing that he had mentioned he had for Khabib in 2021, he hadn't even told Khabib about yet. And based on what he has been speaking with Khabib about and the way that things have been going, he has I believe his exact words were, I have a very strong feeling Khabib will be coming back to attempt the 30-0 after all.
What's enough?
The only thing that I could possibly think of is the GSP fight.
How much money would you have to back up to GS fucking P?
Well, GSP has already said that's the only fight he would ever consider coming out of retirement for, but he won't do it at 55. Khabib said that the only fight that he's interested in after this to make his 30-0 fight would be St. Pierre, and he'd be willing to go up to a catch weight of 165 to do it.
Yeah, dude, because GSP is a thick motherfucker now.
Yeah, he's super fucking thick.
Oh, yeah.
So the only thing that I can think of is that Dana has been sitting on that contract that he had written up for a catch weight of 165, because then neither of them would be running away with a belt, because Khabib would still retire as the champion for 155, but it wouldn't leave the belt open. Now we've got that to figure out. But
well, I mean, Khabib's always had trouble making. Khabib's always had a bit of trouble making weight anyway.
And he had trouble this weekend too. If you saw him on the scale with the towel that he had to use to make weight and still almost fell off the fucking scale, he had trouble making it for his final 155 as well.
Well, to be fair to Khabib, as much as I hate to do this, because I'm not the biggest Khabib fan, I'm not a fan at all. Let me rephrase that, but the dude did come in with a broken foot.
Toe.
Or whatever. Still, makes it hard to fucking run and cut weight when you fucking got a broken foot. Absolutely. Or toe or whatever the fuck it is. That makes it rough. And then that's going to make your weight cut even rougher when you have an injury, because your body is naturally going to want to work on the injury, not drop fucking weight.
Cut in water, yeah. I agree. Still fuck a beat, but
I'll give him this. Consummate professional, made fucking weight, albeit he looked like he was going to fall over off this thing for a second, but whatever. That is what it is.
Hey, that's what I said. He made the weight.
I'm going to chalk that up to a balance issue from the broken portion in his foot.
Okay. I'll let you do that.
I'll give him that. That's all I can give him. I mean, but him getting back to the coming back thing here, the only reason I can see him coming back, I think he will come back for that 30-0 that him and his father had talked about. That's it.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be if, and I say if because we know Dana likes to run his fucking mouth. If he decides to come back for that one, there's only two possible fights that I could see. One is the GSP fight. Two is to smash Conor again.
See, I don't think
Conor interests him enough.
Because he already said when they were talking about Conor versus Dustin that regardless of who wins that fight, it's not enough to interest him either way, because he's now beaten them both, and them fighting each other isn't enough to interest him in a rematch for either one.
Well, I have this strange feeling Conor has a way with words that'll make him interested again.
I suppose there's always a possibility, but realistically, the only two fights that would be left for him at this point, aside from the GSP fight, would either be the rematch with Conor or the fight with Tony. And he said 2 weeks ago that Tony has fallen down far enough after the loss to Gaethje that he doesn't see him ever being back on the level to get that fight earned again. And he's not just going to give it to him to get that fight given to him.
Yeah.
And he feels the same way about Conor. He doesn't feel like Conor's earned his way back to a rematch, even if he beat Dustin, he said, after he said that whoever beats Dustin would be the next one he fights.
And then I don't foresee anybody from fucking welterweight dropping to lightweight to fight him. So,
Nope.
Because I'm sure Kamara, Mr. I only give 33%.
I was going to say that was the only other fight, because that's actually something that Dana was talking about earlier this week in one of the press conferences, is that one of the only things he could see that might be willing to interest Khabib to come back and go for that 30-0 would be to just give him the immediate title shot at Kamaru at 170.
And
So
to be
that way
honest,
he could
I wouldn't be
potentially-
mad at that because I hate Kamara.
Yeah, exactly.
And-
Gilbert would still be next in line. So regardless of what happens there, either Gilbert would be fighting for an empty belt that Khabib would vacate, or he would be fighting an already beaten the fuck up Usman. So either way, Gilbert takes that belt next. So fuck Marty both ways. I like that.
Yeah.
Yep. I don't think he's going to come back for that fight, though. I think even though they've talked about it, no one, look, as much as I say this, Khabib has always stuck by what he said he's going to do.
Yep.
He's never given us a reason to believe otherwise. I don't see him coming back.
I don't think they could, honestly. I think he liked the thought of the GSP fight, but the more GSP has said it's not going to happen, I think Khabib finally started to let it sink in that that's not going to happen. And I don't think outside of that fight, there's anybody that's going to keep him interested enough to come back. Now that he's officially retired because of his mother's promise, I don't think there's anybody that's going to give him that much interest anymore.
You just look at let's say the top 10 in the lightweight division. There's nobody there, in my opinion, that has a chance of beating him.
Not really, no.
I thought the last person was Ferguson, but he got fucking destroyed. And then I thought, well, Gaethje's obvious got this because he fucking destroyed Ferguson.
As casual as it is, I'm going to say it anyway, and I don't give a shit. I genuinely believe, and it is completely cliche because it's the casual statement, but I'm going to say it anyway. A motivated Conor could take the rematch. I think Conor was legitimately fucking off. I'm not saying it's an excuse, and I'm not saying it would have made a world of difference, but I think Conor McGregor legitimately had it in his head that he was going to beat the shit out of Khabib, so much so that he didn't train like he should have for the first one. And I think we'd get a Nate Diaz situation when we run it back. I think it would be a very different fight in the second time, but even then, I don't know that he could beat Khabib, and I don't think there's anybody that would give him that much of a challenge in a rematch like McGregor would. And seeing as how he doesn't like that match, I don't see anything left in the division for him to really interest him back.
Well, no, and there's nobody interesting enough in the division right now to make that interesting. Like,
nope.
The way the division is panning out without him in it makes it interesting. And I say that in the sense of, look, there's nobody in the division that can touch him right now, period.
Yeah.
And as much as to say that about a guy I'm not a fan of, that says a lot. He's fucking fantastic at what he does. Anybody who's below him right now, not a snowball's chance in hell.
No, I agree. But fuck him, he's gone. Now we have current stuff that we get to talk about. Fuck that has been. That will bring us into the namesake for this particular episode here. The reason for the season, the marquee of the first back to Vegas show we've got now that Abu Dhabi is officially done. # was never my fight island. We are back for the first Las Vegas post Abu Dhabi run fight night, UFC Fight Night, Hall versus Silva, the potential final act of the Spider. I tell you what, for a card that is following such a big show like last week, they really didn't put too much effort into try and make this one interesting. They kind of knew that this was kind of a like catch your breath kind of week. Like, it's nice that there are still fights, but they also know that they have got another pay-per-view card coming up in just a couple weeks, and they don't want to give too much at once as the UFC kind of did over the summer, where they gave us banger fights every fucking week after week after week, because they had to make up so many matches. We're getting to the point now where we're starting to get caught up and we're getting some regular filler matches again. And there's quite a few of them on this weekend's card, but that doesn't mean there's not interesting matches on this week's card as well.
Do you know what this card reminds me of? Have any of you ever seen the memes with the monkey? It says you promised her round 2, but after round 1 and she's sitting there patting at his. Yeah, that's pretty much what this week's card reminds me of. This is the UFC. Hey, we promised you round 2, but shit ain't working.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah.
However,
it's a thing. It's not maybe what we wanted, but it is a thing. So I'll give them credit for that.
well, at least keep the engine lubed up.
That's what I'm saying. It might not be the most exciting, but you know what? We're going to stay idling through the course. We'll be all right. So, like I said, not a ton of fights to get excited about, but there are a couple that I do want to mention here early on. Despite this card being loaded with fillers, I will say they are absolutely opening the proper way. Miles Johns versus Kevin Natividad is going to be one of those little guy firecracker matches that's going to get this card started off exciting. It might not be a knockout because it's bantamweight guys, but these are both Miles Johns and Kevin Natividad are both very exciting young prospects who are very bouncy and very firework driven. They both throw a lot. They both bounce a lot. This isn't going to be a snooze fest. These boys are going to open the fight card up rather, with some excitement, I believe. Unfortunately, that's about all there is for excitement on the prelim card, because it's lots of fucking filler. I do want to say, though, the quote-unquote premier prelim fight is kind of an interesting one, not necessarily for rankings or for namesake, in that it is basically a shit or get off the pot, a walking papers fight, if you will. Chris Gritzmacher, who we literally have not seen in over 2 years, and even then was lackluster at best, versus Alexander Hernandez, who has been on just a consummate downward spiral since he thought he had something to offer Cowboy. Chris Gritzmacher literally only had his time in the Ultimate Fighter and then 2 very disappointing matches in the UFC afterwards, and has not been in the octagon for over 2 years since. Hernandez, on the other hand, had a very quick rise to prowess as a prospect. And then as soon as they started throwing him against the top tier talent, he displayed very quickly that while he might be a big fish in a little pond, when you threw him in the ocean, he's a fucking guppy, and has started to fall his way down the spiral staircase that was ass whoopings of unranked fighters. And we've come now to Chris fucking Gritzmacher. So this, I believe, is literally a loser gets walking papers. Possibly both of you get walking papers if the fight sucks kind of match. I think that's kind of why they put it as the premier prelim fight, because these are the most recognizable names on the premier, or on the prelims rather, other than Miles Johns and Natividad. So I don't think it's going to be a necessarily spectacular fight. I do think Hernandez is going to just barely edge out, but I have a feeling this is going to be a judge's decision, because neither one of these guys are really finishers. Neither one of them are very well-rounded. I think it's basically going to be a timekeeper match. You're going to know when this is over, the main card's getting ready to start, more than that you just saw a fight.
You know what's the funniest part about that fight? Alexander still has the same moniker of the Great. He hasn't been great since he got his ass whipped by Cerrone.
Oh, Cerrone Matrix whipped his ass, man.
And I'm back on that downward spiral, back to the bottom.
Yeah, really fucking hard.
You figure this will be exciting though, because both of these dudes have to know.
Right.
They gotta know. Like you gotta go out. You gotta go out there and throw everything you fucking got at this fucking fight. Yeah. Otherwise, you probably gone. Yeah. Like, I'm really interested to see. I'm really interested to see Johns versus Natividad.
Right.
I think that's going to be a lot of fun, because we got a really good wrestler against a pretty darn good constant pressure style striker.
Yeah.
So, you got the contrasting styles. Either it's going to be a takedown fest, or it's going to be a fucking slobber knocker. One of the two. So, and both those two dudes, they're not afraid to throw fists. So that'll be a fun one. But yeah, I mean, I think Hernandez probably takes it. just based on experience. But
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but I think Hernandez has enough to edge out Gritzmacher in this. But I don't think this will be. I think the Johnson Natividad fight is going to be way more exciting than this one was.
I mean, I'll probably watch Johnson Natividad and then go barbecue or something.
Right, that's
Come back and hope that the main card's on.
Away. Yep. What are you gonna do though? But to be fair, the main card actually has some interesting matchups on it. They're all not all the most exciting, not all the most relevant for ranking's sake, but it's got some interesting fights on it here. So the first one we open the main card with Bobby Green versus Thiago Moises. This is just a weird matchup. Both of these dudes have been around a little while, but really don't have a particular style. They're both kind of ungraceful brawlers, for lack of a better term. Neither one of them are really dominant wrestlers. Neither one of them are great, crisp strikers. They're not submission guys by any stretch of the imagination. Both of them have the potential to land it if it's there. Both of them will grab you if the opportunity's open, but neither one of them are really pressure fighters. Neither one of them are really specified specialists. It's kind of a, for lack of a better terms, it's a pair of slobber knockers getting thrown against each other here. And I think it's going to be interesting. I feel like Thiago has a little bit more of a well-rounded set, but I think it's going to be kind of a boring but better skill set, if that makes sense here.
Yeah, and
go for it.
Go ahead. Have at it.
I was going to say, Bobby Green, the one thing he has going for him is he's really, really hard to take down.
Yes.
I mean, that's other than that, I mean, these two are really, really similar.
Yeah.
Like Moises does like to try and wrestle and use his jiu-jitsu game a little bit more than Bobby Green does, but he's not, I don't know that he'll find that opening.
Yeah, there's not going to be a lot of room for him to use it, I don't think.
I don't, against Bobby Green, I don't think there's a lot of room for him to use it. So I think we're left with that ungraceful, like you said, kind of ungraceful brawlers, which, I mean, it can be a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
It can be a lot of fun. Two dudes just wrecking shop and occasionally going for a takedown and stuffing each other. So, or it could wind up against the fence, which I think I've had about enough of.
Right.
Recently, there's been so much cage work, but yeah, I mean, I'll go out on a limb and say Bobby Green. I think that Moises is one thing that he has over him. I don't think is going to work against him, and so I think this could turn into kind of an ugly decision fight. But like I said, it could be a lot of fun. These dudes could just go for the fucking fences. So
very true.
I'm right in agreement with you guys on this one. Bobby, they need to remove his moniker of King and start calling him Decision King, because his last 3 fights wins by decision.
And not clear either.
Mind you, I'll give you this. I'll give him this. Those last 3 fights, his opponents have progressively been better and better. I mean, he fought an aging Clay Guida, took him to decision, although that one was pretty dominant. Clay Guida did look like shit in that fight.
Yeah, he did.
And I forget who his other 2, but they were noticeably better fighters.
The Bobby Venata fight, or Orlando.
Oh yeah, Venata, and then Patrick.
Patrick, yeah.
Yeah, those are the other 2. But yeah, I tell him, is this the only thing he's got going with him? His last fight, he did get a finish, but it was fucking Johnson. Michael Johnson hasn't been relevant in fucking years now.
Yeah.
So I can't even give him that. That's his equivalent of fighting Clay Guida. That's what I would say right now. As much as I would like to say Michael Johnson is better, Michael Johnson hasn't been the same since the day Khabib got a hold of him and said, I should be fighting for the title. You know this.
Yep.
During the fucking fight.
Yep.
So I'm just putting out here. I think if Green takes it, and it's going to be a decision, because he hasn't finished anybody in God knows how long. However,
hot minute.
please fucking prove me wrong, dude. Give yourself a little fucking bump in the stats. I mean, you've won 3 straight, and they've all been this year. So I'm just saying, give yourself a good boost here to finish off the end of the year. You get a 4th win, but do it in a decisive fashion, man, so we can possibly put you against somebody in the rankings and get destroyed there. Yeah, that's all I'm saying. But yeah, I think Green takes it, but it's going to be the decision.
Yeah, then that's unanimous across the board. So I honestly think if Green could not eat so many fucking shots, that he would actually be half decent and be able to get some finishes. But dude, he eats the fuck out of shots all the time.
You gotta keep your hands in front of your face to not eat shots, and he doesn't seem to understand how to do that. He's got to do
like
that. I'm tough, keep my hands up my hips shit, so he eats fucking shot after shot every fight.
I mean, like at a distance, cool. I'm okay with that because then you're more easy to block the body from kicks and block takedowns. That's a decent technique for distancing. But dude, like you need to fucking keep your hands up, protect your face, and you might actually be able to fucking finish people.
You'd think. No, I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. I hope it gets exciting, but I'm not gonna bank on it.
And it's really sad that a fucking pro MMA fighter is telling a fucking pro fighter that you need to fucking block more and you might be better.
Right. Kids these days. But that, unfortunately, will bring us to a fight that we both are and are not going to talk about here. An interesting but unexciting matchup again in the Crochet Boss versus Voldemort. So, again, very similar, boring but better style on the Crochet Boss, and fuck the other guy. He doesn't even get his name mentioned on this channel.
Crochet Boss.
Crochet Boss all day.
Fuck that other shitbag.
Right?
And fuck Dana White for giving him a contract.
I agree. So that will bring us to the moment. Kevin Holland once again getting his opportunity to take a last-minute short notice fight against a UFC fighter who is making his debut on short notice. Originally scheduled to fight Mahmoud Muradov, which would have been a fucking spectacular fight, even though it was a 3-week short notice fight. 3 weeks is still a lot longer than 4 days. They at least had enough time to compensate their training for each other in that particular situation. Now we're literally getting Kevin Holland against a brand fucking spanking new, still wet behind the ears, completely debut making new guy. And I have a feeling it's going to be very reminiscent of the Kevin Holland versus Joaquin Buckley fight. And Kevin Holland has some UFC experience now and just more overall experience in general on the pro level. And this is a new guy making his fucking UFC debut. I don't anticipate it to be as rough as that Joaquin Buckley fight was, because we've discovered since then that was even odd for Joaquin Buckley. But I think it's going to be very much in the same vein, in that Kevin Holland is not really going to be challenged, and he's going to get a little showboaty and try and show off a little bit and try and recoup some of the very, very real reputational damage he received from getting his ass whipped the last time out.
Yeah, and he's such a rangy fucking dude. Like
9 mile long arms.
Who's he? Like, what's the stats on the dude that he's fighting? Like, I haven't even bothered to look. Like, is he going to be? Is he anywhere near Kevin Holland's height and range?
I don't think so. I think it's another short guy, if I remember right.
Then yeah, I mean, it's gonna be the same thing the last time we saw him like this on. Like, it's just gonna be, he's just gonna work that fucking range and look for his shots. Like, it'll probably go to decision. Kevin Holland, Kevin Holland's gonna Kevin Holland it.
Yep.
Like UFC haven't even updated
the stats up on the dude.
No, they still have it listed as the old fight.
And it's the same thing.
Like Muradov, Muradov would have been that. Like, that would have been a really.
That would have been a beautiful fight.
Here we go. Charlie Ontiveros. pull his fucking stats up here. 6'2", 170.
So he's close, actually.
So he's close. He's closer than fucking Buckley was. That's for
This
damn
could
sure.
be a more fun fight than I thought.
11-6, 29 years old.
He's getting mighty long in the tooth to be making a debut in the UFC.
Yeah,
He's
especially
probably,
at 11-6. So
I mean, he's probably been fighting in the back alley behind fucking McDonald's, right down the road
Fury
from the
FC,
Apex.
Fury FC and LFA both. One fight in Bellator that he fought against MVP back in 2015 and lost round 1. Yeah, other than that, all Legacy, LFC or LFA and Fury FC, and nobody of real reputable.
Nobody of
names.
real consequence.
No.
I stand by my statement. Kevin Holland him.
I don't see him having much of a chance here. I think Kevin Holland is agreed going to do the Kevin Holland thing against him.
If
I mean it's a winning. He'll eventually make his way up and fight someone with the rank. I don't know if Kevin Holland's ever going to get ranked, but
here's I think all we need to know to figure out this fight. Charlie is currently the number 13 of 58 pro fighters in the welterweight division for the state of Texas.
Okay.
So
he's fighting out behind Roadhouse Barbecue. Got it.
Yeah, he's not even top 10 in just the state of Texas. So I don't see this going well for him against Kevin Holland.
Yeah.
If Holland wants to get some of that reputation back, they got fucking damaged.
He should finish him.
But
I don't know that he's going to be able to. I don't even know this dude, and I don't know if he can finish him.
Go out, don't fucking showboat, fucking first round, fucking 2 minutes in KO.
Yeah,
that's it.
And do it proper.
You want that reputation back because you got fucking humiliated your last outing. Fucking run a clinic on this kid. But he's not going to because it's fucking Kevin Holland. He's gonna dick around and fucking potentially get fucking humiliated again.
Sloppy, yeah. Yeah, no, that's like I think the Murdoch fight might have been real interesting. I really do, but
yeah, Murdov's fucking entertaining as hell.
That dude's entertaining as a motherfucker.
Yeah,
against somebody like Kevin Holland, I think it could have been a real nice match.
Yeah, that could have been a fucking banger.
This I feel like is a fucking lamb getting led to slaughter here.
Yeah, all right.
But the good news is that leads us into the co-main event. A very, very exciting matchup in the featherweight division for some of the younger gentlemen. A pair of guys fighting to hold that number 15 gatekeeper ranking behind their name. Bryce Doug Nasty Mitchell against Andre Touchy Feely. As if you needed more of a reason to be excited about this fight, they gave Thug Nasty his superhero uniform, man. Like that alone, I feel like is going to be such a noticeable fucking confidence booster when we see him and get into the octagon, because completely aside from the fact that he finally got his goddamn camo shorts, Mama better be ready to head out to the Sizzler, because I feel like Thug Nasty is going to put a serious fucking hurt on Andre Feely. How Feely has any contention at a ranked fighter at this fucking point, I do not genuinely understand, but credit for keeping yourself in the fucking relevancy of the rankings right now. I think it's going to be very short-lived because I feel like Thug Nasty is going to come out and put on a fucking clinic the way Kevin Holland should against Andre Feely here. I don't think we see a third round in this. I think Bryce Mitchell gets him out of there before the end of round 2.
I concur. This is Thug Nasty's fight. Like Thug Nasty's fun. He's a fucking wild man. And now he's got his camo shorts. Now he's got his camo shorts. It's game on. What do you like? I don't need to go any further into this.
The only thing I have to say is it's hard to see a twister coming when it's wearing camouflage.
Right? Yeah.
Dude. Man, I'm fucking... Look, there were some things that Bryce did in the past, like, year that I wasn't a fan of, but now that the superhero shorts have arrived, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say he's kind of my fucking Homelander right now. I want to hate him, but I still love him so fucking much.
Right.
Good
That and
analogy.
there's an equal opportunity. We see lasers come out of his eyes at the end of Saturday night.
That's right.
Oh, all right. You walked away, RJ. Doug Nasty versus Andre Feely.
Oh God. This one was fucking a little bit difficult for me because like I really don't like Doug Nasty. Touchy-feely, like he's got overall good takedown like defense. He's decent on his feet, but so is Doug Nasty. So it's kind of like a toss-up. I think whatever one could really implement their game plan first is going to be the one that takes it. Honestly, I kind of want to see Thug Nasty just because of shorts. I'm from the fucking South, man.
I mean,
you are that hard pressed on wearing camo, dude. I'm fucking rooting for you. I'm from the South, dude.
I mean, to be fair, you'll see Bryce Mitchell, but you won't see them shorts.
Fuck you.
Oh, good times.
I have to go grill chicken, so I'm gonna throw this in real quick.
We're on to the next one. So
yeah, on to the next one. This is gonna be a depressing way to see this to see the spider go out. He's one of the goats. He's one of the goats. I wish he hadn't taken this fight, but I guess everybody wants that retirement fight, and this is going to go ugly for him. As much as I don't want to see it, and Uriah Hall's going to fucking thrash him. But I'm always going to remember the happier days of the spider. That's what I got to say.
You have to. Understandable. So obviously we are now in the portion where we are talking about the main event for the evening, the potential final match. We may see Anderson the Spider Silva's greatness in the octagon, and even in going out, they both are not giving him the fight he wants or an easy fight. They have matched him up for his potential final octagon debut against none other than Uriah fucking Hall. This is a tough match on a good day for Anderson Silva. And I have been a fan of Anderson Silva since I saw the name Anderson Silva the first fucking time and saw what that man was capable of back in the fucking day before he was the legendary Spider, when he was still a crazy fucking fluid dude who would come at you out of nowhere. The problem is that Uriah Hall, to a slightly lesser degree, is an equally respectable legend who has been around the world of combat sports, maybe not as much in the spotlight, but in the world of combat sports, legitimately kicking ass and taking names for almost the same period of time. The difference is that Uriah Hall is not known for being that in the matrix elusive fighter. Uriah Hall is known for being a dude that when he connects with you, you go to sleep and it's over. It's not necessarily the most technical. It's not necessarily the most graceful. It's kind of a smoother Robbie Lawler kind of style. When he punches you and you fucking fall down, or he kicks you and you fucking fall down. It's not a big, long, drawn out fight. It's not a technical masterclass. It's not a precision fucking attack. It's Uriah Hall's big and he's tough and he hits real fucking cleanly. So when he touches you, it fucks you up. The problem is that Uriah Hall hasn't been doing this quite as long as Anderson Silva has, so he doesn't have as much of the road miles. Because I love Anderson Silva, but Jesus fucking Christ, he's a 1991 Toyota Camry with 750,000 fucking highway miles on it.
Hey, those things can go a million.
I'm saying at this point he might still be rolling, but the fucking mileage is starting to shake the undercarriage loose a little bit. There are parts you didn't know needed to be replaced that have lights going off for them right now, and you can ignore them all you want, but eventually that motor's going to blow. We're reaching, sadly, that point with Anderson Silva. We saw in the Adesanya fight that he is still very much Anderson Silva, but he also does not still have the speed and the precision required to stay at the top and to stay relevant anymore. And that sucks. At the same time, Uriah Hall is no fucking spring chicken by any stretch of the imagination. This isn't Anderson Silva getting thrown against a younger Israel Adesanya for his final match. This is a guy close to his age, but still younger enough, I feel, to have more energy, to have more of a gas tank, and to be a little more loose, a little harder to hit than Adesanya is going to be. I agree with Fresh. I think this is going to be a hard night out, but I think Adesanya still has enough tricks up his sleeve, combined with the fact that Uriah Hall has spent a good portion of this last week doing press talking about people other than Adesanya that he wants to fight next, that he might be a little bit unfocused. And you combine an unfocused fighter with a motivated, potentially finishing his career Anderson Silva, I think the spider is going to get one last fly in the web before he calls it a career. I think it's going to be close, and I think Uriah Hall is definitely going to touch him, and he's going to hurt him. But I think Silva still has what it takes to wrap up one last fly before he calls it a run.
Oh, this is a really strange fight for me. And not because of who's paired up here, but I think because of the way it's come to fruition. This is a fight that I would have expected quite a while ago. Like, you could go all the way back to, let's say, 2013, 2014. When these two were both still in their fucking prime. They would have made a great matchup then. However, I still think at that time, Anderson Silva would have definitely destroyed Uriah Hall. However, if you go all the way back to 2013, if we look at one of Uriah Hall's first big fights in the UFC, it was against the crippler Chris Lieben. Oh, Chris Lieben, known for taking a lot of fucking damage. That dude did take a lot of damage in that fight and eventually ended up getting KO'd. I want to say in like the third round or something like that. But that was a long fucking time ago, so don't quote me on that. At that same time, though, the Spider was on this just significant tear. He was the face of the fucking sport. He was taking on guys, the Chael Sonnen at the time. That was probably around that time frame when him and Chael went out. It was 2013, 2015, somewhere in that fucking time frame. So unfortunately, because of where they were both at respectively in their careers, it didn't ever pan out for them to fight. Now that they're both really long in the tooth and both on their back nine, it's a really strange way to see them come together here. But I mean, I would love to have seen these two fought when they were both in their prime 10 years ago. Or 7 years ago, you know.
No, you're right. You're right. 10 years ago would have been when this fight should have been made.
But still, I mean, looking at it now, it's not that it's a bad fight.
No.
Do I think this should be the headliner? No. I would much rather see the co-main event as the main event in this. The only reason why this is main event is purely because of the names. Because this has, for both of them, it does nothing for either one of their careers. Look, Uriah Hall, how he's still fucking ranked number 10 right now, I don't know. Because I don't think he deserves it. I don't think he even deserves to be ranked right now.
I agree.
But, I mean, that's a debate for another time.
Right.
All I can say is, you've got KO power versus arguably one of the greatest movers in all of MMA history. However, that was a few years ago, up until the point where his leg was broken. He was arguably the greatest mover in the fucking sport.
Right.
Had his leg not got broken in that second fight with Chris Weidman, I think he would have retained the championship and kept on moving forward. But freak injuries do occur because this is MMA.
Yep.
He would have gotten the belt back because the first fight, I always say, was a fluke with him and Chris, that he was being too much of a showboater during that fight. And he got caught.
Yep.
So, but either way, he definitely lost a step from there on out. I know he's had stem cell treatments and things like that since. And yeah, you could see the Anderson Silva in him when he fought Izzy, but Izzy also didn't go as hard in the paint as I thought he would with Anderson. I think he was still pretty starstruck of this guy was my idol growing up, and
I agree.
I mean, it's weird to see that now that we're seeing fighters go, oh my God, I get to fight this guy. This is the guy I idolized growing up and wanting to become a fighter. It's a rough way to go out, though, namely for this reason. His chin is fucking terrible now. I'll say it. Anderson Silva's chin is fucking ungodly miserable right now. Hall still packs a hell of a fucking punch. If he gets caught, that's the end of the night. However, I've seen enough out of Anderson Silva with the movement that he still has. I think he can still duck a couple of punches and manage to maintain distance and dictate the pace of the fight. But I just don't see it happening today or on Saturday. I think Uriah Hall takes it. As much as I would love to see Anderson Silva win it, I'm going to be rooting for him. And that's nothing against Uriah Hall because I like Uriah Hall too.
Right.
But in this possibly your last fight, I want to see you go out with a W. I want to see you win anyways, just because I've always been a big fan of Anderson Silva.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's hard for me to say, but I think he loses, and I think he gets knocked out. And I don't think he sees the third round. To be quite honest,
Wow.
I think Uriah Hall knocks him out inside of 3.
Wow. Interesting.
So Uriah Hall still has ridiculous knockout power, as both of you said. Have you seen, like, I think it was like 7 or 8 months ago, he was training with a guy that had headgear. He didn't have a mouthpiece in, and Uriah Hall punched him in his fucking shit and shattered his teeth. Because the guy didn't have a mouthpiece in. He shattered his teeth, like 9 teeth. Like, the man is fucking nasty as fuck. But I love both these guys. How Uriah Hall stepped into the scene and just the fucking GOAT legacy of Silva. Like, they're two people that are fucking just legendary for what they have done inside of the octagon. But I think I'm with Meter. Anderson Silva might not be as fluid as he used to, and might not be as accurate and precise, but he still has a good amount of accuracy and precision and beautiful footwork and just that matrix elusiveness. But inside of him, he still has it. I think he's gonna dictate the fight because he's beautiful at a running distance, reading a fighter, because he has a ridiculous fucking fight IQ. I think he's gonna pull some crazy shit out and take the fight.
I agree. I basically, unless we see that classic fucking egotistical Anderson Silva stand up against the cage and do this number on his fucking leg.
Yeah.
I think we're going to be okay. I think as long as Anderson doesn't try and stand and plant against the fucking fence and lure Uriah in, I think he's got every chance that he needs to take this potential last fight.
And also just for the note of Anderson Silva, like 100 years from now, if MMA is still a thing or not, like, the world is still going to know the name of Anderson Silva, and there's still going to be the clips and the videos of the "fuck you, Nate Diaz, I'm going to lay down on the mat, I'm going to fucking dance around, and fuck you, Nate Diaz," sort of stuff. Because
absolutely,
those clips are still going to be floating around the world like 100 years from now.
Absolutely. That and that fucking, I don't care how fucking crazy Joaquin Buckley's fucking spinning heel turn on Impa was. that fucking teeth kick to Vitor Belfort's chin that crumpled him will be infamous forever. That was unfucking real. So there's still always that. You're muted, TJ.
There was one other infamous moment in his career, but it did not come in the UFC. It came in Pride against the one Rio Chonin with a flying heel hook. And that'll also go down in infamy for as long as you can fucking go. That's the only fucking defeat he had up until he had moved into the UFC and lost to Chris Weidman.
Yep. That and the UFC's Instagram page today was even resharing that fucking Forrest Griffin.
Oh.
Like, the moment that they defined Anderson as the fighter within the Matrix, when he literally hands down, just steps out of the way of Forrest Griffin and one-shots him and then watches him fall and doesn't even fucking react.
Yeah. Like, Forrest Griffin looked so fucking slow in that fight. And Forrest Griffin was not a slow fighter.
No, he made Forrest Griffin look like he had concrete shoes on, and that was completely unlike Forrest ever in any fight until he got up to Anderson, man. Oh, it's fucking crazy. But that's the fun thing about MMA is you never fucking know. So the only way to tell if we're right on the money or if we're completely off base is to watch the fight Saturday nights. So that being said, we are going to call that all for this particular episode here. Thank you to everyone, whether you were here catching us doing our commentating early and watching along live with us, or you're listening to this in the all audio version that is available the week after it airs on YouTube. We appreciate you guys all just the same. So before we get completely out of here, I want to give these guys a second. First and foremost, if someone wants to find out the training regimen of the newest new guy contending for the interim new guy belt, how can someone get a hold of you after the show, RJ?
If you want to get a hold of me, you can always find me over at RJ MMA Official. But you want my training regimen and all that. Let me hit that after I get this shoey. Yeah, and that's an actual fucking beer.
Kids these days.
Also, that's my work shoe, and it tastes like dick.
Quit putting dicks in your work shoes.
Oh, God.
Dicking off at work.
But, you can always find me over there at RJ MMA Official. That is going to be a great clip on Patreon.
Oh, sure.
Great to be here. Like always, man. Can't wait for next week.
Hell yeah. Thank you very much for your time, sir. Oh, and that being said, if at this point someone needs to know how they can enter themselves in the competition for the interim new guys draft or join the scavenger hunt for good old Uncle Chael, you can catch Fresh 03 on YouTube basically every fucking day of the week. Fresh 03 on YouTube, search him out. He is a wonderful human being as well. But if someone needs to know the place that they have to go to get the best cheese curds and potential Kenosha Crippler sighting at this point, how can they get a hold of you after the show, TJ?
Wednesday nights, right here on the YouTube's name says it all. 9:30 Central Time. You can also hit me up on the social medias. Same name. I will answer DMs any day. Then we'll give you directions on where to go, where to look, and how to stay safe in these crazy times. And also, how to pick a fight with the Kenosha Crippler if you really want to, but it's probably not a great idea.
I'm not saying it's smart, but, to each their own.
Yeah, there's information there.
There you go.
Like
Thank
saying
you very
you
much.
hate Culvers.
Right. Thank you very much for your time, sir. Always appreciated. And that, boys and girls, is all we have for this particular episode of the show. So remember, if you enjoy what we do around here, give us a thumbs up. We'd appreciate it. If you need the information that we provide, subscribe and hit that little bell so you don't miss an episode. We're here every Thursday. If you absolutely love what we do, we love you too. So share an episode of the show. We're trying to grow the damn thing. The opposite side of that coin, though, we're just a couple of dipshits sitting in front of webcams without knowing what we're actually fucking talking about. Go ahead and give us a thumbs down. We earned it, and we won't dispute it. That being said, we are going to call it all for this particular episode. So until next time, folks, don't let ignorance stop you. You can root for anything. Unless you think putting on fights at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on a Thursday is a good idea, Scott.
Chicken skewers cook up nice and quick.
You need to go back and watch. You missed the shoey.
Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kids were fast as lightning. In fact, it was a little bit frightening. How do I say goodbye to what we had? The good times that made us laugh.